Now let's talk about the Transformers agenda, aka they're putting chemicals in the energon and trying to turn our bots gay.
Alongside him, or part of the campaign working alongside him. And that was in his own documentation. And you, the New York Times, the paper of record in our country, could not bother to put that front and center of the goddamn story.
Times, these suck, man. God damn, the Times sucks.
That felt good. Fuck the New York Times.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
But you know, so the other day, actually, Donald Trump was on fucking Fucks and Friends, and he so whenever he went on the show, you know how there's like the 5 fucking idiots that sit there on the couch. So they brought him in there. They sat him down right in the center between them, and it's kind of notable that, like, I don't know if it was Brett Baer or whatever one of those fucking stooges is. He actually like, they seem to be sitting him down like very gently, like guiding him to the seat. And it's notable in the video when you see that. Well, now there's reports that possibly, it seems like somebody had said that they had actually had to put an incontinence pad down on the couch for him to sit on, because he had shit himself earlier in the day at a rally, which wouldn't even be surprising because he's just known to have shit himself for years now. He's been shitting himself just randomly. Like, he would, on The Apprentice, he would just fart and shit and like sit there in it, and he would like not say anything about it, and people would smell it. You know, it's just been reported by several people that this is something that's happened. And look, you know, people have problems. Things happen. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not going to say who among us. You know what I'm saying? Who among us has never, you know, trusted.
I would never criticize him for having a health issue. I would criticize him for inflicting it on everyone and not taking responsibility for those aspects of it that he can control.
Yeah,
the kind of guy that thinks he can shit his pants and then just like thinks nobody notices. That's not somebody.
He literally thinks his shit doesn't stink.
Or it's either that or he just doesn't notice himself. Either one is not good.
No.
Or he enjoys the sensation that he sees it creates in other people. He enjoys inflicting it on others.
None of it's good. None of it.
Yeah.
I had a
but I saw that clip and they were all laughing at him. I don't think he realizes they were laughing at him, not with him.
Right. Yes. They were laughing at him. Yeah.
Because
I actually have that one. Let's watch that real quick because it's 30 seconds long, and I just want to like, he starts saying, you know, crazy shit about Kamala, and that's when they actually start fucking laughing at him. Let's see. And no, he doesn't notice. He doesn't. He's completely unaware of anything that, I don't know.
Your favorite farm animal?
Oh no, not this one.
Favorite farm animal?
What's the animal?
Well, this guy grew up in the city.
I'll tell you what I love. I love cows. But if we go with Kamala, you won't have any cows anymore because you're not allowed.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't want to ruin this kid's day.
Oh, you can see the pad underneath him there. Look at that.
Cute and so beautiful and so. But according
that's not his jacket.
A radical left lunatic. You will not have any cows.
Oh yeah, holy shit!
Wait.
Literally.
He's sitting on a pad.
He's sitting on a pad.
They didn't even try to hide it.
No, it's out there in front of Zod and everyone. I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah, look at it. I mean, slow motion. You know. Oh God. Yeah, Tucker's like, yum, yum, yum. Give me them cummies. Yum, yum, them cummies. Give me all them cummies. Oh God damn it. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with you? Why are you watching me? You know, you guys are weird. Weird. Watching this channel. Hey, it's Kamovie Studios. Have you made any movies lately? 5 weeks left until what? Am I excited about what? Talking about the election? I think if anybody's excited about the election, you're kind of demented. You know? I mean, I'm excited to have it over with, but at the same time, that means that there will be a decision made, presumably, that will make it be over. But anxious would be a good word. Anxious, because, like, look, honestly, it's kind of cool in a way that we might be living through the final election. You know, so if we think about it, let's say that's putting a good twist on things. Okay, credit to a good joke for SNL for once. 30 days until this is not even fucking close to over. Yeah. Well, don't worry, Dalekzilla. You know, we're having an election that's definitely going to affect you. You're just not represented here in the election. So sorry, but we're going to go ahead and make a decision that's going to affect the entire world. Because we're like that. We just do that shit. We're that powerful. We're that awesome. You know? Yeah. First woman, or just the last guy. Yeah. Also, we could be getting our first emperor. That's a positive. No. Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's why it is exciting in some ways. It's like I'm trying to not let myself think about it too much, honestly. Because if I think about the possibility of winning, I feel like I'm gonna have to dedicate equal time to thinking about the possibility of losing. And honestly, actually, you know what? Let's do this, guys. I think this is important. I think we do need to, if you haven't done this yet, and I'm being dead serious here, you should do this. Sit down, put everything away, screens and stuff like that, and just kind of close your eyes and imagine the moment that it's announced that Trump won. You can use 2016 as your frame of reference for that. That's what I do. And it's really fucking uncomfortable unless you're a Trump voter, then I guess you're kind of a fucking idiot and you're having a good time. But, you know, if you're somebody that actually cares about freedom and other people in America and its traditional values of democratic norms and stuff like that, then yeah, you're going to have some bad feelings whenever you imagine that. But I think it's important to have that. I think it's important to sit with that for a minute. Because you don't want to be processing those feelings for the first time if it happens. Okay? That's just... But also, if you're somebody who could be directly affected by conservative ruling party, you might want to start thinking about options if you're somewhere where it's not really safe for you. And I know that there's not a lot of options for a lot of people, but I don't know, there might be some kind of a program near you that helps with that type of thing. I wish I could take all of the trans folks and just here, I'll take care of all of you. But you know, it's important, I think, to think about the worst possible outcome, even though, and this is what I would say end that session of thinking about these things. At the end of it, go. I mean, maybe you don't think disagree with this, but I end it thinking about how that's probably not going to happen. Here at AF, we work hard to make sure we've got the facts to back up every accusation of chuddery, that we're entertaining every time we spotlight some fascistic film fandom flimflamer, culture vulture, Star Wars swindler, or comics conman. And by we, I mean me. And while I'm certainly not doing it for money, I do need to buy a new PC soon for continued editing and streaming. That's why I want to express my deep gratitude to my support on Patreon, from dopest members like William, Michael, and Smirking Gun. That's not to say that the members at the chillest and basest tiers are any less appreciated. But even if you can't swing it, you can follow me for free on Patreon and still get some exclusive content and opportunities to chat directly with me. YouTube makes us give every ounce of ourselves. Sometimes it feels like we're being milked dry. Support at any level is hits. Look, here's the thing.
It's the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. It's clobbering time.
Stop this kind of thing is to arouse public opinion. It's very, very upsetting. It has a bad moral effect.
Forced adversity.
Ask yourself, what's more terrifying? Fear or the frightened?
The facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire.
Bad, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Socialism has spread the shadow of human regimentation over most of the nations of the earth.
And they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
How do you think homosexuals reveal themselves?
And the shadow is encroaching upon our own liberty.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
Hello and welcome. Am I audible? Am I good? I'm good. I think I'm good. How you guys doing? Welcome to the radness, the anniversaryness, the birthdayness. Okay. So 2 years of Forced Diversity podcast. That's important distinction because Forced Diversity has existed before that. Forced adversity existed for probably quick maths. I don't know, 2 years, even a year and a half before that. I don't know if that's right. Who knows? Those of you that've been around long enough, you know how it came about. That it is the vestigial growth of what my channel was before or something. I don't know. It's the I don't know. It's like the husk that was sloughed off of the previous version of my channel and then grew into its own sentient thing. I don't know. Whatever gross fucking metaphor you can imagine there, just do it. Apply your own thing. But yeah, I did want to, just take some time to look back at these FAPs. We've been fapping for 2 straight years, dude. And boy, are we chafed. Huh? we need some lotion over here. Okay. Sorry. It's been awesome. It's been legitimately awesome. It started as a idea I really wanted to pursue, but my eyes were bigger than my stomach at the time, and I didn't think that I was going to be able to continue it early on. It quickly became the back burner project because everything else was so much like what I was already doing. Like I wasn't Shillcast yet, but the initiative kind of formed up right at that time. And that became a lot of what I was putting myself into, as well as my regular content. And those two things are basically the same thing. Just one of them is with, other people. So I didn't really have to slow down to kind of get into that. With this, it was more like, somewhat of the same general perspective on the culture in the world as what the channel's always been, but a very specific kind of focus, I guess. It's like a wearing glasses version of the other stuff, and then also trying to do it in a mostly audio format only at first, and also at first doing just recording. We you may wonder, hey, I haven't been watching you for 2 years. It hasn't been that long. Well, no, we started recording in October of 2022, and that was the first episode. Those first episodes are up. You can go listen to those. I did add some imagery to those even on the uploads on YouTube because I couldn't help it because I'm a fucking YouTuber. It feels weird to just here's some stuff to listen to. That's it. But anyway, we've covered a lot of topics that I think sell the point. If you've watched enough of them, you probably, even if you don't agree with where we're coming from, you have to see that there's something to it, right? To this kind of this strain of humanity that is always just fucking flipping out, man, over shit that they shouldn't, shit that is really actually pretty either innocuous, benign, or in many cases pretty badass, fucking rock music and stuff. Come on. But the fact is that I took a chance and I did something at the beginning of this project that it's not something I'd done before really, or at all. And it's something that I honestly can't even verbalize what it is that made me take this chance. But since I started doing this, and this is I'm trying to say this without sounding like I'm full of myself, because I know I'm only a 7,440 something subscriber YouTuber, and I was a couple thousand fewer then. But even whenever I started out, I was had learned about some of the pitfalls of YouTube if I managed to be somewhat successful and stuff. And one of those was parasocial relationships with audience members and stuff like that. And I'd heard about people that would get in trouble because they fucking, they hung out with this one chick that was in their audience, and then they I don't know, slipped a finger somewhere or something, and they fucking got in trouble. Don't want to do that. But whenever I started, kind of thinking about doing this show, I was like, I don't want to. I need to have somebody that kind of gets it, and there was an audience member who seemed like every single comment that they made on my videos and stuff, I was like, that's a good fucking comment, it's like, this person got it, they got it. And normally I would never have even tried to engage with somebody in the audience past a couple of comments here and there, all public, right? And sometimes somebody will message me privately or whatever, and if they have a quick question, I'll respond or whatever, and that's it. But I'm not going to go any further than that. But something was just what, I this person's pretty cool. And we talked a few times, and I thought, I put out the flag asking for a co-host, and this person said, "Hey, yeah, sure, I'm interested." And a couple other people did too, audience members, and generally cool people too. Like nobody that I think would have made a bad co-host or anything, but there was some kind of thing telling me that's the one right there. And that audience member's name was, what was it, Xeon's Ghost or some shit? Was that it? Anyway, that was the first co-host that I had. Got rid of them. They sucked actually. I made a bad call there. No, that Xeon's Ghost was actually one GM Morgan.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for the very kind words.
And then more recently, look, I'm not a fucking Lord of the Rings expert. I'm just a fan. Okay, but we like to have somebody that knows what they're talking about around here, and Morgan knows what they're talking about with Lord of the Rings more than me. But I don't know. I don't think you would say you claim you know as much as one Bobbert of the old ways, right?
Certainly, Bob is the Lord of the experts.
I am the lore master, not the expert of Lord of the Rings.
And we just haven't had that difficult conversation that comes, inevitable now that the season's over. Like, okay, you can stop coming on the show now, Bob.
Like he's still on the couch. I've
been squatting
Lembus crumbs everywhere, and
Look,
I've been squatting
does
in
dishes
this.
sometimes. Like he puts the toilet paper back on the roll and he uses it up.
that's
so
not,
it's like,
that's
whatever.
true. That's true.
No,
I've been squatting in this space for days now. It's basically mine now. So
What's weird is like we leave the stream and then Bob just hangs out by himself.
Yeah.
And like Dane will check back in and he'll still be there, just like the camera will be on, he'll be eating popcorn.
And using cat logic, since I'm here most of the time, it's mine.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Is that how that works now?
Well, also my 9-year-old seems to be going through a phase of that kind of thing right now too. So he's just like, oh, this is so like socks that are not his will end up in this, it's like somehow end up in his socks possession. He's just like wearing these giant socks. Like, yeah, it's mine. I'm like, dude, that's my fucking sock, dude. Like, what are you doing? He's like, well, it's in my socks. It's like, okay, but
it was your sock.
It was
right.
Yeah.
I mean, but it still is because it's like 4 times bigger than your foot, bro. Like, anyway,
he's a growing boy.
So I'm sure, like, he was looking for knee-high socks. That's the way to go. Is take the old man's socks.
And he's a growing boy. He's going to need bigger socks very soon.
Always, they always need more socks. Don't you know that, Dane? Kids always.
Yeah, it's true.
Right now, need more socks.
He's grown. He's growing. Like I was noting the other day that just like he's my not stepson, but he's my boy. Not officially the step or anything, but like since I've known him, he's grown quite a bit. He's got like definition in his face now. He's not just like a cute little cherub anymore.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. Kids, man, they're crazy. Protect them. Teach them to be badasses, and that includes being smart badasses. So anyway, Bob. In all seriousness, like if you recall, a few months back, one of my favorite videos that I've done was with Bob of the Old Ways. We decided to cover this Endymion character.
That dipshit.
And that was an excellent video, an excellent discussion we had. Recorded that and put that up, and yielded one of my favorite personal moments of my own content, if I can do that, and I do because I don't care what people think about me being arrogant or anything. Delete your channel. Just delete your fucking channel, dude. Endymion still hasn't deleted his fucking channel, by the way.
Needs to delete that channel of his.
Delete your channel should be its own show.
I think so.
See, that could be a segment on your Wednesday show, right? On Shillcast. You guys all have your favorite chuds who are just you put out that video about that robot guy. Isn't he a sex pest? Didn't that just come out this week?
He's at the very least wanting to bang a sex pest, which is just a weird thing to be,
Oh no, don't. Child, no. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, child is part of the problem.
So he's being a sex pest to the sex pest.
Yeah, he's a groomer gooner. That's what I said on the thumbnail. He's a groomer gooner.
Oh.
Anyway, no, we welcome Bob of the Old Ways because he's not able to stream on the show. If he was able to be on the Shillcast, he'd already been on there all the time. Fact is, he's got like some kind of, what is that, a job or something you got? Weird.
Yeah, I'm a working man.
You work. Hey, I respect the work and living. Yeah, it's a gig.
So yeah, no, definitely respect that shit. And so we do what we can when we can, and that is worked out fortuitously for the FAP.
Aw,
And
well, I
so,
appreciate it.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Due to a clerical error, administrative communication kerfuffle, I don't know. We were going to have a guest on tonight that is the classicist guest on Fapcast.
The OG. He's the original guest.
The first guest that became a co-host and then had other stuff to do. So yeah, we're going to have Ryan of Nothing But Media on tonight, and apparently, I guess his wires got crossed. He thought that we were talking about earlier than what we were, and it is like 4 a.m. for him, so he's probably sleeping. And good on him. He needs that. Everybody needs.
He lives in another country. How dare he?
Yeah, time zones. How do they work?
So, what we're thinking we might do probably is try again tomorrow. So we'll probably kind of like this one. I was willing to just go late as fuck on this one and just like, as long as everybody's still having a good time, let's rock it. But that's probably not going to be the case tonight. We'll probably just do a little bit of stuff that I thought about maybe halfway plan. I have concepts of a plan. Okay.
Hey, you know what? That'll get you a 50-50 shot of being the president, right? And honestly, like, I take you over. I mean, half the candidates, to have a shot of winning.
And I'm free to go all night, because I'm a working man, but I have weekends off. So
I had these things called weekends. Yeah,
it's a party night for me.
Whoop whoop party.
Whoop whoop. Yeah, I mean, we're saying whoop whoop now because ICP is. Look, I got something to show you guys. You're not going to believe this, but let me pull it up here. And maybe we didn't do a FAP on ICP.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we gotta FAP the Juggalos. They'd appreciate that.
I mean, we're supposed to do one about Eminem at some point too. So like, we've got stuff left to do.
We do. It never ends.
Yeah, that's a never-ending FAP. So, yeah, facts are facts, guys.
That's science. That's science.
Polls, how do they work?
So are they now?
Today we are all Juggalos.
Are they now the sane clown posse?
Yeah, they're sane now. Totally sane. I mean, more sane. Look, some of the stuff they say in their music is fucking gross to me, and I don't like it. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to tell them they shouldn't say it or don't have a right to say it. But I would trust somebody that puts stuff like that in obviously kind of satirical, cartoon kind of inspired hip hop music. Then I would still consider them probably sane, because at least they channel their weirdness in a healthy way, and they're making money off of it. They're not, MAGA, right?
Well, and I think in the defense of the insane and mentally ill, there's a difference between mentally ill and insane and the pure evil that is the modern GOP.
Yeah,
you could be a crazy person like myself and recognize those fuckers are a problem.
Yeah. Well, she just got Beyonce's endorsement on stage.
Oh, nice.
Only moments ago. So it's done. We can wrap this up.
Well, I mean, look,
God's I hope.
With ICP,
the Beehive and the K-Hive,
you're talking about a million underserved, underrepresented, as far as like people actually caring about their interests and their, people that like are on the outskirts of everything. Essentially, they're on the outskirts because that's where the trailer parks are. But sorry. Yeah, it's so if I don't know if they command the kind of loyalty that Taylor Swift does, but I would assume not. But that's a lot of people anyway. There's also Eminem. I definitely don't think he commands. He's got more fans than ICP, but I don't think that he probably has for some reason as many loyal ones as they do. But this is all just based on vibes anyway. So I want to ask a couple questions of you guys and those of you in chat and stuff. What has been, because I know, Bob, you listened to and watched all of the Fapcast in the last week or so, right? So which one was your favorite?
Which was my favorite?
Yeah.
We're not counting the ones that I have been on, right?
You can do that, yeah.
If I have to do that, I think you can do that.
Was the Mary Sue thing part of the Fapcast, or was that separate?
Yes.
That would have to go with the Mary Sue one, only because it's the one I can recall watching all the way through.
Probably same, to be honest. Like,
It's my favorite.
I mean, I haven't gone back and listened through the Gatekeepers one. I've got that set up ready to kind of make some content from it, secondary content. At some point, I just keep doing other stuff first. That Gatekeeper one I remember being pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
And that was primarily due to Morgan, as many of them are. You know, and what I was trying to say earlier too is like the fact that this started off as kind of a back burner thing, and I struggled to adapt it into my schedule. You can ask Morgan, like when we were recording on Sundays initially and not doing live streams, I would always end up being late. You know,
yeah, you were late regularly. It was hard to get it out just because like I don't have the skills to edit, and I have my own job, and it was like you're trying to get this initiative thing off the ground. It's like, well, fuck, neither of us have the time. It's like, well,
it's not like now where you're always on time, right?
Hey, man, you're fucking too new to be doing that. Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Dane is only minutes late now.
Yeah,
only minutes.
At least I like Wolverine. Okay.
Damn. I'm just gonna let y'all fight a little bit. No. So like, I mean, you look. It's valid. I was a late motherfucker. I was not. I'm on these. I'm gonna blame it on autism a little bit, just a little bit, because I do struggle to adapt routine if I suddenly find myself doing that. And at the same time, if you think back about what was going on in the first couple of months of the initiative being a thing, we had Eric July and Bob fucking debate.
Yeah.
Which resulted in Eric July making a video where he called on all of the other biggest chud tubers to essentially fucking bombard us with harassment. So we're talking like a couple of million people that were being called to fuck with us. And we're just trying to stir a little shit here, guys. Like, we did not know that we were going to activate that kind of warning system, that kind of fucking
virus. Did not appreciate you guys.
They were like they were like, oh, white blood cells, activate or whatever, and
just white something.
Yeah, white supremacist blood cells.
They powered up the white.
And it was crazy. It was crazy. There was debates going on. There was immediately people were like coming at us from all sides, trying to get us to fucking break up before we got started and stuff like that. Just trying to pry us apart in weird ways. It's really, when I stop and think about it, it's kind of telling how desperate they were to fucking not let us form up like Voltron. But nonetheless, there was all that, and just and I was a dick, and I let this be like the thing that was not compelling me to get things done. And nonetheless, I think there was even time wasn't there where I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this right now. We should kind of start later on and do it another and you were like, no, we can keep trying.
Yeah. And it took 6 months for us to figure out, well, let's just stream it. I think that you were the one who proposed that idea when we did the Harry Potter FAP about all the book burnings and stuff, because now the people who burn Harry Potter love J.K. Rowling.
Right. Crazy. That was your idea for a stream, though. That was a brilliant idea. Yeah. That was during whenever that goddamn video game was coming out.
That dumb game came out. Yeah. Return to Castle Turfenstein.
Or he's gonna alienate fucking lefties. Who knows? That's the thing.
Like, right? I think you would hope that lefties are smart enough to understand that that's just, they're gonna go back to being enemies the 6th.
And I have serious doubts about whether Cheney's going to bring in any votes at all. He's not. If you talk to like the grassroots Republican people, which is who they want apparently they want to recruit, nobody likes Cheney. No, nobody
ever has. But I think the reason Cheney did it is so that someone will write something nice about him before he finally expires.
Oh, sure. I mean, Kamala can't control who endorses her, but they. Spending the last 2 months leaning into being buddy with the fictional moderate Republican.
Well, I mean, look, in her defense, and I'm not saying that this is a winning strategy, but I mean, I do think that there are people that are looking for that kind of thing from her, because the fact is, if you I could play this video that I watched earlier. Maybe I will. Who knows? It was from The Line, the channel The Line with Jimmy Snow. He and Arden, I forget her last name, had a call with some conservative, some MAGA guy. He's real dumb, but he was friendly as hell, in a weird way. And like, he essentially just believes that Kamala is just this radical, crazy leftist. And it's like, that is incredibly common kind of propaganda that's been going around. It's like, and I don't know if that's the reason why they do that type of thing and why they appeal to that. Like, look, we're not so radical that we can't kind of be friendly-ish with Dick Cheney. You know what I mean?
But they're doing way more than being friendly, though. I mean, she's essentially promised Liz Cheney a place in her cabinet.
Yeah.
And the Republicans are going to want concessions, policy concessions out of her that have probably already been agreed to.
Almost.
If she wins. And I don't think it's a coincidence that her poll numbers started to drop the instant, pretty much, that she started doing the Cheney thing and leaning into being friendly with Republicans, because there are almost no Republicans who are going to vote for her.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's not get too in the weeds on the whole election thing on this episode, at least for now.
Okay.
So
I certainly, we can get into it at some point, but yeah.
So I was just looking through the video episodes I haven't downloaded anyway. I've got 50 gigabytes of streams here in this folder for FAPcast episodes. Just to rattle off a few things here. All of this has happened before, which I'm fairly certain is the Lavender Scare.
Yeah.
Anti-fandom and fascism, the same thing. Oh, that's my video from before. Kind of sets up. Banning books is the new punk rock. Bear sex, the JQ, and pronouns.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fun one.
Another.
Let's play some clips.
What's up?
Let's play some clips.
Okay. I mean, these are full streams, so I really don't know. I can find some clips for sure. I'm just kind of going through the names of the shows at this point. We'll get there.
Okay.
Book banning. So the other one was no, those are just two different streams about book banning, I guess. Let's see.
It comes up a few times.
No, it's the same one. Okay. Cannabis, which is actually, that's an unreleased FAP.
Yeah, we didn't finish that.
I need to edit that down because I mean that's one of the last ones, maybe the last one that we tried to record or did record.
So
we might have a weed FAP coming soon.
Of course, the weed FAP is late, right?
Yeah. Sorry, man. Cathars versus Catholicism: Dawn of Genocide.
That was very self. I appreciate everyone indulging me on that one because I.
What was that called again?
Cathars versus Catholicism: Dawn of Genocide.
Oh.
Parentheses.
The Albigensian
and
Crusade.
The Crusades.
A great
and
time.
The Inquisition. So yeah, that was a Morgan special for sure. ESRB.
That was a fun one.
Some of them are simply titled.
Yeah. Hey, it gets to the point, right? You know.
Harry Potter and the Torch Tome. That's the one we talked about a second ago.
Yep.
Fapcast Fractured. Dane confronts co-host Morgan about for forcing adversity in capital letters.
That's the Star Trek Picard episode.
Yep.
Ooh.
There's a couple other things maybe too that we talked about.
Yeah.
That was the main one.
The big one was Star Trek Picard season 3.
The first episode we did live was War on Christmas holiday special.
Oh yeah, that was a ton of fun.
Yeah, we can maybe see what the beginning of this looks like. Just oh yeah, cool.
That's where we invented FAP News.
Yep.
Well, there's the logo.
You gonna play, buddy? What's going on? Where's it at?
With Trump as your president, we are going to be celebrating Merry Christmas again.
First of all, we want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. A very, very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
They've been downplaying that little beautiful phrase. You're going to be saying Merry Christmas again. Under the Trump administration, you'll be saying Merry Christmas again.
I'd like to wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
I told you that we would be saying Merry Christmas again, right?
Merry Christmas, everybody! Merry Christmas, everybody! Merry Christmas, everybody! I wish all of you a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
All right, Merry Christmas.
They don't
It's like you
use
never
the
even
word
said it.
Christmas because it's not politically correct.
Well, yeah, that's their whole thing, right? Is just
Merry
pretend.
Christmas,
Is
everybody.
just
the merriest of
live in
Christmases.
pretend land.
Christmas is back.
Oh, he said it in weird foreign language just now, though.
Oh, there we go.
We're bringing Christmas back.
Well, we can call a truce in the war on Christmas as long as Christmas stops occupying Halloween.
I agree. Someone on our block has effing Christmas decorations
Merry
up.
Christmas and happy holidays to you.
And I'm just like, I'm ready to go over there and like start knocking stuff down, shouting, "This is Halloween."
Yeah, there's a whole other holiday in the middle. Like, come on now.
So, I remember that I did some kind of edits for this, and I forget what they were. So I think maybe there might be one here at the beginning. I don't know. Hello, and welcome to the Forced Adversity podcast live stream. Christmas special. I'm sorry, holiday special. We're not allowed to call it Christmas.
Yeah.
As you can tell, it's banned. We just don't say that in this country anymore. And along with me, as always with the podcast, you guys don't know this yet, but every single time, Morgan shows up and hits it out of the park.
Well,
You there,
thank
Morgan?
you. Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Happy holidays.
happy holidays to you too. Thank you for not saying the other thing.
Yeah, I'm not allowed.
Oh, there we go. We're all right.
Open holiday lights on the desk.
Yeah, so I guess
You know, I'm so
did you wanna-
excited.
let's
Speaking
do
of holiday
do
lights,
the thing.
my spouse today put up Halloween decorations on our house for the first time.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
I drove when I pulled into the driveway and saw them. I was like, "Oh my god, they're so cool!"
I have a Halloween tree with Halloween ornaments that I
That's
bought
fantastic.
from Halloween Town, the store.
Oh, there's a Halloween Town, the store.
Yes, in Burbank, California, there is a year-round Halloween store called Halloween Town. It has two locations. One of them is for costumes.
Okay.
And the other one is for like household items and decorations, books, and so forth.
I just remembered that I actually did an upload from this stream that's called "How to Spot a Moral Panic, Like the War on Christmas."
Oh.
So we could just check that out because I actually did edit that from this stream. And it's got some fun stuff in it, I guess. I don't know. We'll see.
I did like the news desk format you had there. That's pretty cool. And the various iterations of it over the.
Well, I mean, we still got one now. We got let's see. Let's remove these for over here to the side and boop. Well, okay.
Well, the robot shows up.
Nope. That one.
There we go. We're fun sized.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part about that episode is that we get to talk about who launched the original war on Christmas in America. It was George Washington.
Yeah, that's what this is about, actually.
Oh, nice. Oh, I spoiled it then.
That's okay. You know, people forget. Maybe.
When was the last time you saw Merry Christmas? You don't see it anymore. They want to be politically correct. If I'm president, you're going to see Merry Christmas in department stores. Believe me. Believe me.
So is President Trump winning the so-called war on Christmas?
As you know, there are some Americans who are offended by any reference to Jesus Christ. And that's what the USA celebrates on December 25th, the birth of the baby Jesus. President Grant signed the holiday into law after Congress passed legislation in 1870 acknowledging the country's Judeo-Christian tradition.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Love that. Everything you love is threatened by everything you don't understand. Yes, this is FAP News. FAP News channel. Thank you for noticing.
Here at FAP News, we make up what you believe. We have a report from the front in the war on, I'll say it, I'm going to say it. You ready? Christmas. There is a war on Christmas. That's right. It has been waged in the United States for not just decades, but centuries, since before the nation's founding. The first recorded anti-Christmas action was led by Agent 711 of a partisan spy agency against the government and its defense contractors. They traveled over Christmas night. These insurgents used the cover of darkness and snow to strike at defense contractors celebrating Christmas and recovering from their merrymaking. These guerrillas murdered 22, wounded 98, took hostages, and seized military equipment. Terrorists. Terrorists.
Pause there. So, wow, I packed this one full, didn't I?
You packed this one to the gills.
It was well written, fat. And like, yeah. So yeah, the thing I was gonna say here is anybody that gets, you know, the one. There's an obvious reference that I'm making here. The obvious thing is obvious, and then there's another one, and I wonder if anybody knows what it is. Is this the little band photo?
The band, the Gorillas?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, I can't tell what the band is on my screen. So.
That's Rage Against the Machine in their music video, Guerrilla Radio.
Oh, okay. I can't. Yeah, it's tiny on my screen too. Maybe I should go full screen.
Maybe. All right. Back to what was it? This image?
Yeah, the noted child general enthusiast.
That is such a cursed image of Matt Walsh. I mean, they're all cursed.
They're all cursed. Yeah.
That one. Oh my god.
He's like.
Ugh. It's like every picture of him is the portrait of Dorian Gray.
Except he's not young and beautiful.
No.
George Washington crossing the Delaware.
Wow. They don't tell you that in school, the Bin Laden of colonial Christmas. Washington was such a Christmas terrorist.
Yeah, he was the first anti-Christmas action activist. Anti-Cra.
I love it. Oh yeah, that's right. Then it goes to just an audio.
The only way that you can really stop
we go to the OG. I love the intro.
It's a fun intro. I mean, it really is, like, it's the only one that's basically just came out perfect from the first edit that I did of it. I don't know how, but it just the vibe was right, you know. And
it was born perfect.
I think the only thing that I added that it did need, I believe, or not need, but definitely enhances it, was the lines from Legion.
Yeah.
Setting, it has a bad moral effect.
Forced adversity.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
So far, we've got these recorded. That's what it was. Yeah, then the rest of it was talking about topics that we were going to cover.
On
because this was video nasties, Dungeons and Dragons, basically our coming out party to the world.
Yeah.
Satanic Panic, the Comics Code, Frederick Wortham, which it's going to be a couple episodes. More than I both being big comics fans, we got kind of deep on that one.
We had to do a whole other show to redo that one because we went on for like 8 hours.
Yeah, there's a version of that where we just kind of, I mean, we're also like producing the show during the show at that point too. We were still figuring it out, so we were like, take time to talk about how we're gonna do this.
Yeah,
and like that would sometimes lead to conversations that were 30 minutes long.
So it wasn't a FAP cast; it was an EFAP.
I mean,
ow, you wounded me.
Got him. Fucking got him.
But I still like Wolverine.
Damn.
Wow. Man, I look at it. I took a time to put the little symbols next to the thing and everything. What was I doing? I was putting way too much time into this.
Nah, you were knocking it out of the park. I love that.
Hey, I don't question anyone's process. Whatever helps you get the work done helps you get the work done.
Absolutely.
Well, so yeah. This actually makes me think of an idea that I'd had that I forgot that I was considering. I think I'm gonna work on it, but
might be 2 parts, and I think
let's see. You know, as we've gone on, we're like, well, let's look at this type of cultural impact and stuff like that, and you know, and one thing we just recorded last recording session, we went back and recorded heroes and villains because we started doing that, and we stopped doing that.
We stopped doing that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I think part of it this year is that because we've been talking so much election stuff, the heroes and villains are kind of the same every week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I don't want to call, like Kamala a hero, really.
No.
I mean, like, even if she wins, it's like, okay, but like, it shouldn't have been so hard, kind of thing. So like, there's no heroes in the election process, really. I mean, yeah, there are the people that look, the people who are working the fucking polls that are not, deranged pieces of shit that are looking for ways to, damage the election.
We voted early this week, and the poll workers knocked out of the fucking park at our early voting location.
I'd like to give a special tip of the hat to the people who signed up to be canvassers for Elon Musk and then just didn't.
Yeah.
And then just, oh yeah, those are heroes.
They truly are true heroes. Who else is heroes is the Portland voters who overhauled what the mayor is in this city. And I didn't know that, really. I mean, I think I remember hearing that it was going to be different next time, last election. And it is so like the guy we had before, Wheeler, he was the mayor, but he was also in charge. He was the head of the city council. He was also in charge of the police. Like, he was the police, whatever the fuck. Like, he basically, that's way too much fucking power for a mayor to have, man.
That's a lot.
And so the Portland people said, fuck this. Let's fucking get a ballot measure that basically rewrites what the mayor of this city is. Now the mayor literally just hires the city planner and a city commissioner.
Wow.
Essentially, he's an ambassador and an agenda setter kind of thing. Hires and fires. So like, if he hires the person and if the person's not doing a good job and the people start complaining, you know what I mean? He's fucking fire that person, get a new person. It's the mayor is just like a tool of the people in this city now, which is kind of awesome.
Good. That's awesome.
And then another thing that we did was we voted for ranked choice voting on fucking mayor.
That's
I don't know how common that is in the US, but like I voted ranked choice for the first time, and
that's
it's
awesome.
Pretty cool.
I think they have it in Alaska. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's at least one other state that has ranked choice voting for state and local level elections.
Alaska's
if you're
the
not
one
aware
I know
of what ranked choice is, it's just like I chose who I would first want to be the mayor. We had like a shitload of candidates too. I guess that's comes with having ranked choice. Maybe there's like a lot of candidates for mayor, and most of them are pretty okay. One of them stood out to me, as well as the local, kind of a newspaper outlet that generally is pretty respected, as the one they endorsed, and I chose that too. But that was my number one. But like, if he gets knocked out, like if not enough people vote for him, then I still might get the second choice. I mean, I don't know exactly the mechanics of how this shit works, but essentially it makes it so that my vote isn't just immediately useless.
Right.
If my first choice is not the winner.
It also eliminates the need for runoff elections or anything like that in case there's no clear winner. They can just go to whoever won the next amount of votes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and we're getting
this, by the way, for those of you out there who are pro third party voters, this is what you need to change: the structure of voting, not the number of parties.
That's the way to do it. I mean, it's like a new. And by the way, like, I don't know what you guys presidential ballots and stuff said, or your federal ballots, but like, I was confused at first because it said like, what was it, Green/Progressive Party? I think it said was like Jill Stein's party was listed as.
So I know to get on the ballot in each state is different in each state.
Yeah.
And when you have something like the Green Party that doesn't have a cohesive national party, that local unit can look different, pretty different state to state.
But the Republicans, as in Trump and Vance, were listed as Trump and Vance, and then Republican/Constitution.
Weird.
And then
the Constitution Party.
Some of the Democrats on the ballot, but not all of them, were listed as Democratic/Working Families, and I think Kamala was.
Huh.
And I was just
so there are several political parties. You just listed three of them: the Constitution Party, the Progressive Party, and the Working Families Party, who operate basically like political parties, but they don't field their own candidates. They just endorse candidates from one of the two main parties who then become that party's nominee. So like Working Party's family is really big in New York City. So like AOC and so a lot of the other progressives from New York City are also Working Party's family candidates.
So they're more progressive. I assume.
Yeah.
But they're also like pragmatic enough to realize that they need to kind of attach themselves to the Democrats in order to, you know, do anything. Seems.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting because here it wasn't listed as like that for Trump or for
because they're not national parties. Like the
they're not.
Working Families Party is not in every state. So the states where they're in, it gives them leverage over policy.
Sure.
For the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, whichever may be in that state.
So it's kind of like instead of, and then it's a good thing because it means that the nearest person with some political power to you representing your political stripe is not going to be someone at the DNC. It's going to be someone in this Working Families Party, right? And who will that's pretty cool. Because, like, I mean, that's the thing about you know, the appeal of small government. I remember you know, when I was first learning what the difference is between what the Republicans were supposed to be. This is during Bush 2, and my brother's friend was breaking down politics to me, and I was like, what's the fucking difference here? You know, he said that Republicans want small government. And of course, that's bullshit.
It
was always bullshit. It's especially bullshit now. You know, I mean. Actually, kind of, it's maybe a little bit more true, but like they mean it in the sense that they want to be fascists. Like they mean like much less as in zero social safety nets and you know, a bunch of isolationist policies and stuff like that. Anyway, but
they want no taxation, no social safety net, and the complete dominance of business over everything else.
And your
That's
social
what they mean by
life,
smaller
what you do in your
government.
bedroom and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, so, but I remember thinking that was appealing. That is an appealing idea. The way he described it to me is like there's less room between you and the next person or the person who has power who speaks for you in the government. You know, if you have because if you have a large ass, you know, like a big government, basically there's going to be more people, more room, I guess, in between. You know, I don't remember how he explained it, but it appealed to me back then. That was the only thing of the conservative explanation that he gave that I was like, okay, I can see that. And then, you know, quickly realized that was full of shit too.
That's not how that works.
I'm curious what his description of the Democrats was.
Well, I'm pretty sure he used the term globalism.
Woof.
Yeah. But I mean, and then I remember thinking, what's wrong with that? I asked him, what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with, you know, like we are a planet of people. What's the like? And I remember even then I didn't know shit, but I just like kind of vibes based. I was like, it's kind of just that way, isn't it? Anyway, isn't it? Like we get goods from various countries, like we're all interconnected. We're like, why would you be so against that connection kind of thing?
You couldn't hear the echoing parentheses.
No, but I could definitely hear his flamboyant, closeted, probably not even aware himself that he's gay voice as he explained it to me. But that's a whole other thing here, not here nor there. But no, you know, I hope he's doing okay. He was a pretty cool guy overall.
Sure.
But yeah, he did have a picture of fucking George W. Bush in his living room.
Woof.
Yeah.
Like even my ultra conservative families weren't that into anybody.
Oh, he was a big time simp. If you are, by the way, if you're someone who, if you are like, I don't know, thinking that, oh, where the hell did it go? I had a. Okay.
I think if you're, you know what, just don't simp. Just like, as a rule, maybe don't simp.
Yeah. I could have sworn that I had downloaded a video earlier, and now I just don't know where it fucking is, and that's frustrating. Anyway, yeah, what do you guys want to do? So, what's going on? What y'all got planned for me?
Yeah, you were the one who said concepts of a plan.
That's true.
There is no sense in
first things first. First things first is I think we need to to do a quick explainer to the new kid. We need to get him wizened up on who Bill Gaines is.
Yes, we do. The true hero, the hero every week.
I mean, he's the legend of the FAP. Like he's a FAP legend. I mean, that was we'd already decided to do heroes and villains, I believe, at that point. But like he was when we got to him, it was like, this guy, holy shit, and he's so unsung.
He is the reason we have heroes and villains.
If have you ever heard of Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, Bob?
Yes.
So he is essentially the guy who inspired that as a thing, and just his situation. If you how aware of what what went down with Wortham and the Comics Code are you?
I probably know the talking points, not the deep lore.
Well, I mean, if you want to learn the deep lore, there's definitely some hours of podcast you could listen to. Several hours.
Right back.
Okay.
I gotta go.
But the short version is this: that Frederick Wortham, being a German immigrant to the U.S., and like when I was younger, and I didn't really know anything about the details. I knew who he was. I knew about and I was like, in my mind, he was a fucking villain. He was a bad guy. Like, how could you even fucking consider doing this to comics, right? He really was just misguided on this one thing, and that kind of sucks that he kind of gets consigned to history as being a villain, actually, because he was also the only doctor in his area who would see black kids at the time. Basically every other doctor would not see them, and they had that right apparently to not do that. They could just reject them based on those grounds that they were black. He did not do that. He was a socially progressive guy. He just did not follow the scientific method when it came to how he looked into comic books and their effects, because he, the equivalent to modern day would be if every time a kid goes and does a violent thing, you take that kid and you sit him down and you go, all right, well, what are you into? And the kid goes, I play video games. You go, okay. And then another kid does it, and you interview that kid. What do you do for fun? I play video games. And then you go, it's got to be the video games.
Yeah,
because all the kids are playing video games that are getting, they're doing these violent things, and they also can't be a coincidence, right? Well, you fucking dipshit, Frederick Wortham. Every kid was reading comics back then. I mean, more or less, every kid had some comics rolled up in their pockets. You know what I mean? Like they were trading with their buddies. They were everywhere. They were fucking everywhere.
Yeah, but this was before the Comics Code Authority, though, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's the one that brought it about with his misguided lack of scientific method into researching his stuff. So he just would go. He would find a kid who had been in trouble, who had done usually some violent thing. 10-year-old, 11-year-old, maybe gotten in a fight, maybe hit his mother or something like that, or worse. And another thing that we talked about in the episode that doesn't get talked about. This was in the 50s when and our cultural memory of the 50s is like this idyllic. Of course, lefties know that that's bullshit, but that's the cultural memory of the 50s, right? That it's all idyllic and everybody was happy with a new car and a nice home, and the dad's going to work with his briefcase in the morning and kissing his wife goodbye, and she's, oh, bye, honey, and the kids are like, bye, dad, and all that stuff. Leave it to Beaver shit. That was just the facade of it. The fact is, you had more or less every, almost every man of a certain age at that time that had a family, a new family. A lot of people had a new family. It was the baby boomer generation. Was fucking traumatized as shit from World War II.
Yep.
The ones that actually came back and they were fucked up, and they were alcoholics, and they were fucking abusive, a lot of them. And that doesn't get talked about, because it was just, there was nobody it was just something you didn't talk about then. It just was the norm, basically. And so kids were fucking abused. Kids were fucking beaten up by their dads, and probably their moms to a degree too, because their moms were getting abused and shit. And just, that's how that shit perpetuates. And yeah, you're going to end up with some violent, lashing out kids in that context, So, and that's why it's this is actually the first topic that led me down the path of wanting to do this podcast. This is as an approach to content, because I was just like, first it was this, and then I started thinking about McCarthyism and like how, it's just even if I don't fully agree with communism, and think that we should be a communist nation or anything, I definitely see that it's not what it's been made out to be. You know what I mean? And I definitely see that it's not even whenever there was a communism, quote unquote communism, that was as a like Russia as the Soviet Union as a nation state was a threat to us, sure, but it wasn't like communism that was the threat. You know what I mean? And like, so that kind of stuff just kind of, I'm fascinated with why people end up being against things without understanding them. When my approach to things is like, I want to understand stuff as much as I possibly can. And then I'll decide if I should be worried about this. But anyway, so Frederick Wortham was the son of, I don't remember his father's name. I mean, I'm sorry, not Frederick Wortham, fucking Bill Gaines. Bill Gaines. William Gaines was the son of was his dad's name Bill Gaines too? Maybe?
I don't think so.
I don't remember. But he got he inherited this comic book publisher, EC Comics, which was originally entertaining comics, and they did, educational comics. That's what his dad did, was just literally what's on the tin, educational comic books. And back then, comics were still a really new thing. They came about in the late 30s, early 40s, because the first comic books ever were compilations from the Sunday comics that just the newspapers decided, hey, we can double up on our money on this shit if we just take the last several weeks of Sunday funnies and put them together, run them in this, package them in a comic, and so they did that for several years before DC and other publishers like what was Marvel originally called?
Timely.
Timely, yes. Started actually creating new stories for things. But yeah, then it became a thing where kids were getting these comic books, taking them to school, reading them, and teachers were getting upset about it. Parents were getting upset about it, and I think part of the reason was that this was like the first time in history, maybe, that children could decide what they wanted to consume as far as like do with their entertainment, right? Like they didn't have someone sitting them down, telling them to do this or play this game or do this thing or whatever, or go play a certain way. It's like they're literally just, and so like the parents had no control over the relationship between the kid and what's in that comic book. And I think that freaked a lot of adults out back then.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, what's in there? And then, horror comics were not the only comics at all. They were selling pretty damn well, but they were not the only comics going on. But of course, those are the ones that got targeted. And Bill Gaines, being, grew up in comics. His dad was a comic publisher and had inherited EC Comics and stuff. Whenever it came down to after Frederick Wortham he tried to get people's attention on the comics and stuff. The first attempt failed. I think he partnered with like some nuns, the Catholic Church, maybe. Maybe it was Baptist, I forget. But like, it didn't go anywhere. Nobody cared. And then he wrote a book, Wortham, and that is
of the Innocent.
Yep, and that book did sell pretty well, and it got attention by folks in government. And then
this is that era of government. That's the Lavender Scare, Red Scare, McCarthyism era of government.
This is directly like in the shadow of McCarthyism of like, oh well, this is like the, is this going to corrupt our kid? They're looking for anything that's going to fuck up their perceived ideal U.S. that was going on at the time. What is the thing that's going to corrupt it and fuck it up for everybody? Is it going to be communism? Yes, it's going to be communism. Is it going to be comic books? Yes, it's going to be that too. It's going to be anything that we fucking see that we don't like that kind of makes us go, oh no, I don't know what that is. That's going to fuck everything up for us. That's how I imagine they were thinking anyway. But so they convened Senate hearings in 1954, I believe. I'm going to pull up a video of that. So this video that we're going to look at is Bill Gaines. He had agreed to, I think he'd requested to go and speak at these Senate hearings, despite the fact that the public opinion had already been made at this point. Mm-hmm. Wortham in his book had said things like Batman and Robin were perpetuating or like promoting some kind of queer lifestyle. They were, Batman and Robin, they slept in the same bed together at the time. They were in full fucking, pajamas, and they weren't sleeping, and it's like, he's the only one that saw that in that at the time. You know what I mean? Like everybody else was just like, this is more or less a boy and his or a guy and his adopted son sleeping in bed together kind of thing.
Yeah,
they
I'm sure he's not the only one who saw
you know,
that.
but he's the one who, you know, basically made it so where nobody could see anything else.
Yeah,
and started decades and decades of fucking jokes that, you know, really, you know, I made a video about this whenever they made Tim Drake bisexual a couple of years ago in the comics. I was like, this is actually a fuck you to Wortham, you know, because like here's Robin being bisexual, like, yeah, that's like this means that we have made some fucking progress. So fuck you, Wortham, on that front.
Right. Literally on his grave. Good for him.
So yeah, then but yeah, the public opinion was already real sour on comics at this point because of clips like the one we're going to look at here in a moment. And so the fact that Gaines, he had literally had nothing to gains from doing this other than, you know, and that's why you know he's a fucking awesome guy, because he did this because it was the right thing to do. And he stood up for children. He stood up for children's rights to be children and to not be persecuted against because they enjoy something that their parents don't understand. And he, you know, just, yeah, you'll see in a second. Nonetheless, what did you think about it, Morgan?
I think for me, once we get into the comics code, his speech, like his testimony before the Senate, he's got a lot of good things to say. And he says them very well. But I think the moment for me that really sold me that this guy was one of the greats was the whole story behind the Judgment Day comic.
That sealed it for sure.
That was it. So Judgment Day was a comic that was his company was going to publish in one of their anthologies.
Well, let's do that one after we get through. Let's just introduce the man, and then we'll come do the Judgment Day after that.
Sure.
Okay. So here's this.
No one was doing horror comics when we came out with R3.
And this is the man speaking is the man himself, as you'll recognize.
Very quickly, I think there were 130. Of course, they didn't have the art and they didn't have the stories. But in all honesty, I can't say they were gorier than we were because we figured we could out-gore anybody, and we did.
Just fucking big dick in them, even today, you know? Like, we were gorier than all these other fucking knockoffs. Because there were knockoffs for sure. Like, you know, the main three horror comics that, you know, Tales from the Crypt, what is it? Vault of Fear, I think was, and then I forget the other one, but like, yeah, they're all basically the same thing, more or less, same format, and yeah, they're a little bit racy, a little bit too racy. I would say I would not want necessarily my 9-year-old to read some of these comics.
Sure.
Or at least I would want to make sure that he was prepared for what's in them. You know what I mean? Because I don't think kids need to be I don't think there should be strict age limits on things as much as you just need to know your kid and know what they're able to handle, and you need to be able to have conversations with them. But yeah, there was some racy shit going on as far as like the violence and the suggestions of violence and stuff. But banning all comics was not the fucking way to go. That was just like a crazy. That was what essentially Wortham wanted, you know. But I mean, I guess capitalism won out in the end to a degree. Thank you, capitalism. And America wasn't about to just ban an entire industry. So yeah, the comics code was the compromise, I guess. But
well, and also this is the time when we're sort of ramping up the Korean War, and comics were huge among people drafted to go overseas for that war.
Yep.
And I think from a like logistical standpoint, this is the entertainment that your soldiers are reading. It's a tool for morale at this point. And government censorship at a certain point targeting a whole industry may have come off as, dare I say, communist.
Yeah. No, I mean, if there was, this is what we said in our episode about it, Pink Bunny, is that it's like a secondary kind of censorship. It's an implied censorship. It's like the implication was you need to fucking rein your shit in, or we're gonna do it for you.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
the
it
same
was.
thing that happened with the music labeling in the 80s.
Well, that
and
was
90s.
different because that label was decided before the labeling was decided before the hearings.
It's true.
Yeah, but it was under the political pressure of censorship from the state if they didn't do it on their own anyway.
Right.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But that's part of his appeal.
Let me
He's
show you.
also Santa Claus.
Now I feel like I got to kind of defend the man's honor because he was a, I'm not going to say he was handsome, but he was younger at one point.
Right.
Let me see.
He is an old man in that clip. In this.
Yeah, in the clip you showed, the person I thought of was George R.R. Martin.
Yeah,
that's who he looked like to me.
A little bit of that.
Unlike George R.R. Martin, Bill Gaines can finish a story.
Ooh. Well, George R.R. Martin has finished many, many stories. It's just the Game of Thrones one he hasn't finished.
I know, but
okay, so
it's more about antagonizing Game of Thrones fans for me.
Yeah.
Here's the cover of this book, just to kind of give you an idea what that fucking masterpiece looks like. And I do want a copy of this. I mean, it's never just something that I have. I think it's usually around $50 to get a copy, and I just never have $50 to drop on something like that. But eventually, I would like to own a copy just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
And then
it looks like the font looks like a 1980s get rich quick book or something.
You know what it reminds me of is the cover of like the Godfather DVDs
or the Trump book.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, the Trump book. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, there he is right there.
The Trump book looks like that cover of Seduction of the Innocent.
True.
Yes.
And there maybe is something to be said about Trump doing a little bit of seducing of innocence himself.
He's a big fan of violating innocence.
Here is some art about the man and one of his probably his most famous creation.
Mad Magazine.
Other than the Crypt Keeper, I suppose. I mean, I don't know if he created the Crypt Keeper, but and I don't know if he literally created Alfred E. Newman, but he did create Mad Magazine, publish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I knew. That's how I know Bill Gaines, the creator of Mad Magazine.
Well, and that's how he and this is one of the ridiculous things we get into in the episode is that it wasn't like they just said, okay, anything that is vaguely looks like a comic book is not, it's got to be censored or have the comics code. No, you could get by it. Marvel published some pretty, I guess not racy necessarily, but more violent than the comics code would have allowed comic books just by putting them in larger format magazines. Treasury editions and stuff like that just because they were not the right dimensions to be labeled with the comics code, they got by it. And that's just another common thing that we see with these fucking FAPs, man, is like there's these things that come up essentially every single time where like there's always some ridiculous way that you can get around whatever clenching of the fist that the control freaks are trying to do, moral panickers are trying to do at the time, and it's just like something absurd that just highlights the fucking futility of it in the first place. You know what I mean?
And then that we going back to our old episodes and stuff, like that sort of thing came up with the D&D stuff for me, where like a father of a friend of mine really got into Baldur's Gate 2, and then banned me from coming over to his house after he figured out that I had smuggled D&D into his household. Because at some point he noticed the logo.
By the way, here's what Wortham looked like, and look, some of these comics that he was going after, I don't know, I think he was barking up the wrong tree. It was pretty cool.
It's a cool cover.
Criminal what?
Criminal by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I can't believe he went after that one. That's like
the Photoshop is real.
And I do have. Oh wait, here's this. That's a good picture too. That's fun, very fun.
Aww.
William Gaines and Friends. So this is like the three people that essentially were the. Like one of these is the original Crypt Keeper. Like Crypt Keeper devolved, but really evolved from just like some old dude in a hood, and then eventually became the Crypt Keeper that we all know and love. Hopefully, you love Crypt Keeper. He's cute.
It's adorable.
With his puns and stuff. Oh, I don't know why this is in here. Oh, you know what? I think yeah. That's why it's in here, because this folder it's to highlight how you just had to be a little bit clever to kind of get whatever you wanted into comics, even during the code. You know what I mean? So like this is a early 90s, I think, Spider-Man comic.
Ah, yes, the Venus butterfly.
So, you know, she says, this is well, monsieur. What was that about dessert? The pretty madame, she has, I'm not going to say that. But of course, we have something special on the menu tonight. Something just for vous. It is called the Venus butterfly. Yeah.
And then they go to bed.
It's, yep. Good. And then it's just that. Like,
okay, so now that we have the new Ultimate Spider-Man, can we get like the 2024 version of that scene in that comic?
We kind of do
a little bit. Like clearly they.
Whenever, like right after she tells her about being Spider-Man, you know, there is a scene where she's like, they're kind of like hinting at it with the costume and like what he wears and stuff like that. But I mean, no, it doesn't come out and say this, but they're definitely getting horny for each other at that point.
Oh yeah, I mean they're clearly very horny for each other from the beginning. It's sort of the appeal of that comic.
So, oh yeah, this was fun too. Oh my god, this was a review that I found underneath Seduction of the Innocent on Amazon.
Oh boy.
Progressives in regress. A Christian left this 5 stars. This book is a must-read that proves liberals never change. Dr. Wortham was a well-known communist progressive. He helped defend the communist spy Ethel Rosenberg and organized with Robeson and Planned Parenthood, among many other communist activities laid out in the introduction, that openly attacked the First Amendment to the Constitution in his books repeatedly. He makes the case for free speech should be abridged for the children, and also proposes more gun control. His criminology theory, laid out here, refuses to blame individuals for crime and instead passes the buck to society. This book sets up the talking points used today to attack gun ownership, free speech, and freedom of the press, and the criminal justice system for the actions of a sick minority of the population that are violent criminals, disavowing radical individualism and anti-socialism. Wortham explains that everyone should accept responsibility for the actions of others, but no institution should be blamed more than the mass media of the comic book industry. Historically, his tactics worked as they shamed entire nations into successfully banning comic books. Is that true?
No, we looked that up back then, and no, it wasn't. It was just
the book's so blatantly anti-American that even his valid criticism of the contents of comic books is entirely muted by his unrelenting war to destroy the freedom of the press and speech is laid out. After reading this book, I can say without a doubt that enemy of free speech and the press has always been a communist party who hide behind the more moderately sounding progressive label. 5 stars.
That was 10 years ago.
Years ago, yeah. This is
fucking amazing. I hope this guy's okay now. He's definitely a big time Trumper, right?
I feel bad for his arteries.
Yeah, if he's still kicking, he's a Trumper for sure.
The icing on the cake is that he gave it a 5-star review after writing it.
Really
verified purchase. He fucking bought this book and read it.
Bought the book.
He had feelings. These are legitimate feelings. There may not be like coherent thoughts, but they're legitimate feelings.
He felt things. Maybe he didn't think them, but he felt them.
Oh, there's this too, man.
Yep.
There's another weird one.
So yeah, because you can't really see it on that. When this comic came out, Superman is having a beer with his dad, and then they have to edit it to be root beer in a second printing because people were like, Superman's having a beer
with his dad, and his dad was about to die in this war. Yeah. He did die, right?
Yeah. I have the first printing of that comic.
Nice.
It may have tear stains on it. Because
the part that looked weird to me at first was that it looks like it says Brainiac Party. It actually says Brainiac Part 4.
Okay, but if you had to vote for the Republican Party or the Brainiac Party?
Oh, Brainiac.
So some of these comics were maybe a little bit rough around the edges.
Yeah.
There was definitely maybe a call to let's maybe separate these types of comics from just a regular shelf where kids could access them easily.
Sure, and I think we've hit upon a great way to do that. Where you sell it bagged with a opaque cover that says for mature readers.
So now we're going to check out this little comic that, do you want to tell the story first or look at the comic first?
Let's look at the comic first. Because I think so this was a comic that was initially banned by the Comics Code.
Oh, I know this one. Yeah.
Oh, you know Judgment Day?
Is this the one where it ends up the astronaut is a black guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I blacked that out just so that we could, at the time, we could look at it without spoiling it till we got to it. But yeah, anybody that's not aware of what it is, so this is where, yeah, just like Morgan said, you know, the Senate appearance, which we'll watch some of, listen to some of, is where it's like, whoa, this guy's kind of fucking awesome. But this was like, oh shit. First of all, Gaines was basically the main target of the comic book code at the time.
Yeah.
Because he was the #1 publisher, and he was the one pumping out, you know, all these fucking horror comics that, you know, maybe should have been filtered from children's easy access, but you know, they still, yeah. Nonetheless, this was he. So after the Comics Code came out, there was a couple of times that he fought with, and who was the Comics Code, by the way?
The Comics Code was an independent organization that was funded by the publishers.
But it was the publishers themselves is what it was. It was he was part of it originally. He was part of the people that would decide. They would essentially kind of review each book that was going to be published all the time, and they'd go, okay, this is fine, this needs to be, you know, changed or whatever. And then eventually he kind of got pushed out or left or something, I think, because it was clear that they were kind of ganging up against him. The other publishers were.
Right. Well, because they were doing a capitalism, and they had carte blanche to eliminate their top competitor.
You can't let the people that are at the top that are making the profit also be the regulators. That's so stupid. To even think that could work. Like, but that's what they did. The people making the money were also regulating. So then it became a game of who can we fucking regulate out of our fucking way.
Yeah.
You know,
well, in this case, it may have been the lesser of two evils, because the alternative here was government censorship of the comics. Those are the only two options on the table.
I think we talked about it then. Maybe I'll have to go back and listen. But I think that I did end up deciding that I don't think that this could have gone much better in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like it could have gone worse.
It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
And that very quickly the code starts to fall apart. Like it gets subverted by publishing in magazines. It has to, like, its own rules are silly and require exceptions for Marv Wolfman because his name is Wolfman.
Yeah.
And by the 70s, like, DC and Marvel have actively said "get bent, weirdo" numerous times. And so because it didn't have the force of law, it could be broken down more easily.
Yeah. Well, there's also the Stan Lee story about the drugs thing.
The drugs and Spider-Man episode.
I think it was in the 80s that the government basically, I don't remember what body it was, reached out to Marvel and was like, hey, can you do a Spider-Man or a comic book about drugs, just an anti-drug message? And he's like, actually, I don't think I can, because the Comics Code you're not supposed to mention drugs at all, right? So basically he went ahead and did it, and you know, because he felt like it was an important message to put out there. And that was him essentially. That I think from what memory, that was the first time there was a crack in the dam at that point.
Yeah, that was the first big hit. The follow up was once DC saw that Marvel could get away with it. They had the Denny O'Neil
hard traveling heroes.
Yep, the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, with
Speedy, the Speedy got addicted to, yeah. You know that cover? You ever seen that? It's kind of an iconic cover with a
really iconic cover. Yeah. Did you know that the artist who drew that was like a weird conspiracy theorist?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he thought the Earth's changed size over time. Like it started out small without oceans and then just kept getting bigger. Did a whole YouTube video back on it in the early 2000s.
Yeah. When did he believe this?
In the early 2000s.
That's when he believed it.
Yeah.
Okay, because that used to be an actual hypothesis to explain the shape of the continents, and before continental drift was and plate tectonics was discovered.
Right.
You know what I would say?
Prevailing theory.
I would say, Harlan, that maybe going after comics the way that he did, absolutely, maybe not necessary. I wonder if he even tried to approach the publishers at all? You know what I mean? Wortham. Like, did he even try something like that?
I don't know.
Or come together with get a bunch of parents and together and get a consensus of people to sign something, or whatever. I don't know what you would do, but like, it seems like going straight to the government and asking them to ban something is kind of deranged.
Yeah, well, they didn't have like the internet,
right,
and the capability of instantaneous communication back then.
I mean,
so
even
it kind of had to
telephones
fall
were
to
pretty new.
Yeah, it had to fall to the discretion of the frankly the person selling the comic, not the one writing it.
Yeah,
as to whether kids bought it or not.
Yep,
that was out of Bill Gaines' hands. He had no control over that.
That's true. I mean, the publishers, the writers, publishers are going to publish what they're going to publish, but yeah, as you essentially scared them all into submission, nonetheless. And then you had like little cracks along the way. In the episode, we talked about all these moments of like, this was a milestone of Stanley did this, and that was the first time that a publisher like just openly, brazenly not only went against it, but like everybody was cool with it because everybody kind of saw this is kind of silly that we can't even talk about the potential harm of these drugs because and we also looked at the actual the code itself. I don't know if you've ever done that, but it's kind of interesting.
It was interesting what's there and how it's worded.
Yeah, a lot of it is just basically, without saying it, no gay stuff.
It's a lot of no gay stuff.
Don't do gay stuff, but they don't even say anything close to that. You can tell what they mean.
They really wanted to say it, and they wanted to say it a lot, and they found interesting and new ways to keep saying it.
All right, so back to this.
I wonder how the shaping of Marvel's Thor and Loki would have been different without the Comics Code Authority in that case.
Oh,
because Loki in Norse mythology is kind of a gender fluid being,
like they are in comics now. Actually, Loki's pronoun in Marvel now is they now officially.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Because like the Loki of the Norse god Loki lived on the earth as a woman and gave birth to children.
Mm-hmm. And a horse.
And that wasn't on Earth, but yes.
Yeah.
Hot.
And Odin, by the way, also lived as a woman in order to learn magic.
Yep. Because magic was a innately feminine thing.
Right. Because it's kind of ironic that without the Comics Code Authority over its head, Loki in Marvel is returning to the artist's original vision.
Right.
As it were.
They're decensoring Loki finally.
Yeah.
Let's see. Should we move on maybe from the comics thing now, or
sure.
we kind of got Bill Gaines. So that's why Bill Gaines is the deity of the pod.
Yeah.
Just, the spirit of him is what matters, and just like, actually I do want to watch him in the Senate real quick because that's a cool moment.
You put that on. I'll be right back again.
Okie dokie. And he does use a couple of phrases that, look, as the 50s, even the most progressive-minded guy was going to be kind of have a couple of blind spots compared to what we know now. He uses the R slur, but it wasn't the R slur then. That's the thing. It was just a word that described people to them. But in the way he used it's kind of weird because he's using it in a really awesome full-throated defense of children's agency. You know what I mean?
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the R slur wasn't a slur back then because it had not become a slur yet. It was just a medical term that later got appropriated by bigots to be used as a slur, but it wasn't originally intended as one.
Is a medical term now. Not like it's not been officially.
That's what I mean. It wasn't intended as a slur when the word was invented. It got used as one, unlike the N word, for instance, which was always a slur. Anyway, that's a side. It's a tangent. We don't need to go out right now.
N word was always a slur until it was taken and repurposed by the black folks.
Yeah.
And it's still only that, not that to them at this point. So that's probably what it'll stay, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Where is that dang thing? Here we go. Senate subcommittee. That's what I labeled it.
The real question is this: are comic books good or are they not good? If you want to raise a generation that is half stormtroopers and half cannon fodder,
Half stormtroopers, half cannon fodder,
with a dash of illiteracy,
dash of illiteracy. Look, this motherfucker like here, like, come on, dude.
Is
There are people.
this Bill Gaines talking?
That's worth.
No, this is Wortham.
This is Wortham.
Bill Gaines,
Okay.
Yeah, Bill Gaines did not have a fucking sharp German accent. No, to say that comic books cause illiteracy is so fucking bizarre, man. It's because I don't think I would have been illiterate at all, but like I definitely feel pretty confident that my reading comprehension was greatly enhanced by reading comics. Just because I was learning words and turns of phrase and concepts that I would not have learned anywhere else. If you read X-Men comics and watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, you're gonna learn some shit that you're not gonna learn anywhere else.
And some of it will even be real.
Yeah, I mean, if you're clever enough, you can even apply some of the fictional stuff to real life.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, all of Star Trek is real. It just hasn't happened yet.
We have like 2 months for Irish unification, bro.
comic books are good. In fact, they are perfect. Just a very short while ago, an 11-year-old boy committed a holdup in California and killed a woman of 42. And when the police came to arrest this 11-year-old boy, his older brother, who's 20, said, if you want to know the cause of all this, here it is.
Oh my God, his 20-year-old brother, the expert?
Yeah, noted
These
expert.
rotten comic books. Cut them out, and things like this would not happen.
It is my opinion, without any reasonable doubt and without any reservation, that comic books are an important contributing factor in many cases of juvenile delinquency.
The Senate Subcommittee on Juvenile Delinquency had as a prime witness Wortham. Now, as soon as I heard this thing was formed, I asked for permission to appear.
2 decades ago, my late father was instrumental in starting the comic magazine industry. He edited the first few issues of the first modern comic magazine, Famous Funnies. Famous what?
So yeah, that's I always forget that his dad literally worked on the first comic books, Famous Funnies, which were the ones that I mentioned earlier, where they were just repurposed old.
Yeah.
And that's fucking crazy. Like he's right. That's another reason he's so awesome. Is he's right there, baked into the fucking creation of the comic book industry. It's awesome.
Funnies. I was the first publisher in these United States to publish horror comics. I'm responsible. I started them. Some may not like them. That's a matter of personal taste. It would be just as difficult to explain the harmless thrill of a horror story to a Dr. Wortham as it would be to explain the sublimity of love to a frigid old maid. What are we afraid of?
A little bit of sexism.
Are we afraid of our...
I mean, yeah, but you can't. He makes his point at the same time. Like,
yeah.
like, yeah, I get it. I mean, in a way, I feel like it's maybe more insulting to those fucking senators than it is to any frigid old maid.
Yeah,
Right.
it was designed. Yeah. It was intended to be insulting to them, to be shocking to them.
Right.
Our own children, do we forget that they are citizens too and entitled to the essential freedom to read? Or do we think our children so evil, so vicious, so simple-minded that it takes but a comic magazine story of murder to set them to murder, of robbery to set them to robbery?
And it goes on another version of this somewhere that he continues to just say base shit for a few minutes. But that's pretty much the gist of that, where he's that little run there, where I remember the first time hearing that, like, kind of gave me chills. I'm like, this dude in the 50s, you think about the atmosphere of just like repression that was going on then, and he asked to be there, right? He requested to go there, knew that this was basically the foregone conclusion that something was going to happen with the comic book industry at that point. And they fucking, the newspapers, they fucked them up, because what was it? They had pulled up, and you've probably seen, probably all of you have seen that famous cover of the horror comic that has the guy holding a severed woman's head in one hand and then an axe in the other hand. Right? That is genuinely most people have seen it. And so they pulled that comic book up in the Senate hearing there and showed it to everybody, and like, look, do you think that this is tasteful? Because he had said it's a matter of taste or whatever, right? Like, and he said, do you find this tasteful? Right? Isn't that what they asked him?
Yes. And
he said something about, I forget what his answer was, but I mean, it wasn't the best answer, but it also was a question that was designed to make him look bad.
Right.
And essentially of course he wasn't going to say, no, I disagree with this comic existing. So whatever he said, however he worded it, was just exactly what they were looking for. And then you got all the headlines ran with that he's this guy that, that thinks that this comic book with severed woman's head is just perfectly good for kids and stuff. And that really affected, it affected his reputation. That's another reason I feel like it's important to lift this man's name on high, because he fucking got shit on back in the day. All right. Here's one that I think maybe is more, maybe Morgan can speak to this one a little bit more. I don't know.
The game of Dungeons and Dragons has been around since the early 70s. It's played by an estimated 5 million people. It is also the target of a group of concerned parents in the United States who call themselves BADD, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons. The reason they are bothered is because they believe the game has been involved in a number of murders and suicides across the United States and now in Canada. At the trial of a 14-year-old boy who admitted to strangling a young Orangeville, Ontario girl and her brother, it was revealed the accused had been playing the game for 18 months.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no. A horror.
So how do you defend this, Morgan? How do you fucking defend this hideous game?
I mean, I won't defend the modern version because Wizards of the Coast is a terrible fucking company. But back in the day,
wait a minute. Hold on. Is this going to be the Wolverine between you and I here?
It will be, yeah.
Because 5th edition D&D is whatever you think of the company. I love it.
I know.
I love the.
I do not.
We're gonna have to step outside or something.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fight this out. No, I think that people do bad things in this world, and those people who do bad things also do things that other people do. And like he said, if at the time there's 5 million people estimated to play the game and you found one person who did a bad thing, that's not causation.
That's
not even correlation.
Right. That's not even correlation. It's
true. Yeah, it's kind of like you still see this kind of tactic done today with, for example, what was it? That one trans person, maybe trans, maybe something kind of still not sure with the shooting in or whatever a couple years ago, and then it became like, oh, the transes are all trying to murder Christians or something.
Mm-hmm. And it was one person who may or may not have been did a bad thing. So what? It's not really a pattern of behavior.
No, but I mean, and then that's why I think this podcast felt important to do, was because there's just that occurrence, that tactic, that type of person, that type of group, mentality that just goes right for that as the go-to move to, I don't know, sometimes. And what we did find is that some of them are done as like Wortham, for example. I believe he was just very fucking misguided in this one regard. I don't think he was being malicious. I think he legitimately felt like he was doing the right thing. He was just really wrong in how he went about it. So, but I mean, at the same time, he did have some concern for something that was valid. He just kind of didn't apply any nuance to it, and he went at it with full force like it was some evil thing.
Right.
But then you got guys like I don't know. Who were some of the cynical ones we did?
I think the ESRB ones.
Yeah.
I mean, Senator Herb Kohl of Wisconsin. That's
Wisconsin.
There's Wisconsin, the show villain. Him and Joe Lieberman they kicked off these video game hearings simply because the Senate was closed and they used it as an opportunity to get publicity for themselves.
Grandstand, yeah. It's
And what was the hearing about? What was
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal
some
Kombat. Everyone's talking at once.
Yeah. So what was the ESRB?
That was for video games. That was about Mortal Kombat and Night Trap.
Okay, I remember. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
I was mixing that with the PMRC, which is the music.
We did that one too.
I lived through the D&D scare when I was a kid. I had to keep my D&D playing secret from my parents after they found out about it because they believed this nonsense.
Well, didn't you have a little anecdote about that, Morgan? Somebody.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Was that I had a friend who? So I had the Baldur's Gate 2 video game back in 2001. And I was like, this game's fucking awesome, and I knew it was D&D because like the root, like it came with the back in the day, video games came with like an instruction booklet. The instruction booklet for Baldur's Gate 2 was basically a pocket version of the player's handbook for D&D 2nd edition. So I knew it was D&D, and I lent the game to my friend because we would lend games back and forth. And his dad got into it because he saw his kid playing it when we were teenagers, and he thought it looked cool, and he played it. And then he realized it was D&D eventually, and I was not allowed to be friends with that person anymore because I had tried to seduce his family to Satan.
Yeah. And then of course there was the Tom Hanks movie.
Oh, yes. The Tom Hanks movie.
Mazes and Monsters, a classic. Yeah.
By the way, I do have something. And I'm not sure if this is relevant. I guess it is kind of relevant to the podcast, but I have a movie that I downloaded. I found this account on Twitter. The one good thing to come out of Twitter lately for me is that I came across this account that seems to primarily or almost exclusively collect and then redistribute for free alternate cuts of movies, primarily horror movies. It seems like. That have had, there's a lot of horror movies. If you're a horror fan, there's a lot of horror movies that were released with an edit that made it suck. And then there's always that like, oh man, what if it was the original edit or whatever? So I just happened upon one that always kind of frustrated me, the edit that came out, which was Hellraiser Bloodline. It's a fourth movie in the franchise. Spans centuries. The plot.
Right, I've seen that one. I was gonna say that was the one with the space station, right?
Yeah, it's got Adam Scott in it when he's a young lad, and it's about this family, this bloodline of this guy who, over the course of centuries, deals with Pinhead in the box and stuff like that, and he's kind of just tied to it in this certain way, but it had so much potential. I remember whenever that came out, in the fucking space station, the marketing for it and everything, and I was a big Hellraiser fan as he was a kid. And it's like, oh my god, a science fiction fucking Hellraiser movie. That's gonna be amazing. And then it sucked. It really sucked. And it's like really short, and it just kind of ends, and it doesn't really do much interesting. And all the fun kills are kind of like edited down to almost nothing. Well, there's work print of Hellraiser Bloodline that I have now, and I scanned through it the other day. It looks pretty cool. Thinking about maybe finding a way to watch that. I don't know, with audience or something at some point. If anybody's interested and you're in the server, I don't know. I'll announce something about it tomorrow, maybe.
Oh, there you go.
Nonetheless, the first thing we did, we'll talk about this tomorrow, I think, when we have Ryan on. But the very first topic was video nasties.
Video nasties, yeah.
And that one was fun, just because. It was cool to start off, first of all, having such an excellent guest who offered his talents whenever he saw, because I was excited as hell about this thing. I made a list of all the topics we were excited to talk about before we ever did anything with them, and was promoting it. Like, this is what we're going to talk about on this podcast. And, one of them was the video nasties thing. And I barely knew anything about it. It was kind of just one of the things that I saw listed when I started looking up moral panics. And
I've
Yeah,
never
and
heard of the video nasties.
I hadn't either when we sat down to
yeah.
record it. I'm just like, this is the thing Dane wants to talk about. I don't know what the hell it is. We'll find out.
That's interesting. So you haven't still, or have you not watched the video or anything?
I have not.
Man, I thought you were supposed to watch all the videos, Bob. What happened? No, I'm kidding.
I'm a working man.
You two fight over?
No, I don't want to fight Bob. I want Bob to fight Bob.
Oh, right. We have to have a Bob fight. What do we want the Bobs to fight about?
We're gonna get that taken care of. Don't worry. That's coming up next. Where Bob's gonna face the trials. They were long established in ancient times of the initiative. Actually, we're gonna make them up probably next week.
2022?
No, 2024. They're not really even made up yet. We're gonna do that soon. But we're gonna pretend like it's some long-standing tradition. So
sure, of course.
Well, better watch out because I'm built like a goddamn brick.
Oh no! Oh no! Hey, movies with Mark. Talk about a good ass movie channel.
There you go.
This dude, look, he's always telling you what movies are woke and stuff. No, he literally only just talks about movies on the merits of the films. It's crazy.
What?
I know.
Wait, so
what
like
sorcery is this?
Movie
on YouTube.
review where you review the. I feel like I watched a show recently and like I reviewed it and didn't talk about how woke it was. Like I vaguely, maybe that was a fever dream. Bob, did you have a dream like that? You just talked about a show we liked for like an hour a week for 5 weeks.
I feel like I may have lived that about a decade ago.
Oh, weird.
What's that?
Talking about a show you watched, but not like complaining about how it's woke. I feel like I had a dream where like I did that recently.
Yeah, I feel like I had some conversations around a water cooler about Game of Thrones that were kind of like that at one time.
Okay. Yeah,
what
weird.
is Game of Thrones?
It could be a fever dream though.
I've never heard of Game of Thrones, despite
real quick, I got to do this for Mr. Movies with Mark here.
Happy birthday!
What? Happy birthday!
Oh, and by the way, on behalf of the people of the United States, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday.
I was expecting the Handsy Nancy drop.
No, because he's trying to torture.
Welcome to the FAP. Nancy used to do that for me. Handsy Nancy, I called her.
There it is, folks.
There it is. Got
it. I did ask for it, so
mission accomplished.
You really asked for it.
I figured I could either wait and forget or just do it right now that you mentioned it. And I just went for it. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Morgan, but had to be done.
No, the comedic time on interrupting me was perfect. Like that adds to the bet. So like, well done, sir. Hats off. Not that I'm wearing.
So I'm going to look for this video real quick. Here's another one that's just kind of like, I think this kind of applies to the 50s in general and like the lavender scare and stuff. And this is just one of the. So I before we ever recorded anything, I stayed up late a couple of nights just like scouring YouTube and other places for propaganda videos, like old propaganda videos. That's how I ended up coming up with the intro stuff. And this was one of them.
Every large organization, like every big firm, every civil service department, the armed forces and so on, there must be hundreds, even thousands. If all the homosexuals were to leave their jobs simultaneously, the economy of the country would be thrown into something like chaos. In Britain alone, there are at least 1 million men and 1 million women who are homosexual.
Oh my God.
Now, for some reason, the law takes an entirely different attitude toward the two sexes in this matter.
What?
Between women, homosexuality is perfectly legal. But between men, it's a crime, rendering the offender liable to several years of imprisonment. There are only half a dozen countries in the world in which it is a crime, but for some reason, Britain is one of them. So what's it like, then, to be a male homosexual in Britain today, whose only choice is between a lifetime of complete sexual abstinence or being a criminal?
Pretending the whole time, guarding your language the whole time. I feel that to a certain extent homosexuals can be recognized by what they say, even when they're discussing perfectly ordinary topics. Therefore, I guard what I say, even on perfect ordinary topics. I guard what I say the entire time.
How do you think homosexuals reveal themselves when they're talking about ordinary topics?
Perhaps in the assumptions they make about their future, which are going to be different from heterosexual futures. I make a deliberate effort in my conversation, sometimes, to imply that marriage is in my future. But talking at ease, I might give away the fact that, in practice, I know it's not going to be any part of my future. I might make some remark which shows I take it for granted that marriage, children, perhaps even a house are sort of something I know are perhaps never going to happen to me. And that is possibly a giveaway.
Did you find it very hard to come to terms with the fact that you are homosexual?
Yes, from about 16 till about 20.
So do you think that this is how gay people should like kind of be presenting themselves these days, or is that like a cool image? Is that why they were doing that? Just like being in the dark like that? I don't know. I'm sorry. That's not funny.
I was going to make a crude joke and say that interview looks like it was literally filmed in a closet.
It literally does, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
Well, and like if you look at a lot of places, like right now in the year of our Dark Lord of the Sith, 2024, a lot of places around the world that have anti-homosexual laws on the books were part of the British Empire, and those laws remained on their books when they became their own countries. The British Empire was the #1 exporter of homophobia in human history.
Well,
I just found it a little bit amusing that the title of the film was simply Homosexuals.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they like to get right to the point. So yeah, here we got episode 1, Video Nasties. We had an episode 0, which was just a thing scripted by me and primarily me, and said a bunch of stupid words. This was where it really got started, where we kicked it off, and we're there's like a level of like attempted professionalism in this episode that's kind of adorable, when considering how we talk about things now. And that's completely my fault. I've ruined it.
How dare you, Dane? No, it's fine.
How dare I be more relaxed on my own podcast?
Yes, how dare you? Liberty.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
Oh, you should probably introduce yourself. We should start with that.
Hello there, my name is Ryan, and I run the Nothing But Media YouTube channel, where I look at generally older films and TV programs that I enjoy and that I hope others will enjoy. But part of that comes with my love for both history and entertainment, and so my roots in that go right back to childhood. And
I think there's like
to my degree
video maybe that kind of shows generally what the movies were, but you probably know of some of them, and then some of them definitely don't.
Really, my degree was in media studies and theatre and media drama, so I was a critic and a person to be criticised as an actor and.
The sort of horrific scenes that I have had to see and other members of Parliament have had to see, I believe they're living in a different world to that world that I live in. I believe that research is taking place, and it will show that these films not only affect young people, but I believe they affect adults as well.
Video nasties was a term coined by Mary Whitehouse, and she took against a whole bunch of movies that became available in the early 80s on video.
The police have raided many video shops in the past months.
The people who say, but why shouldn't adults be able to see this kind of thing in their own home? I'm half tempted to say that people who make that kind of demand, knowing that children are likely to see it, aren't really themselves very mature and adult.
Video nasties. So yeah, that was just a peek at it. We're gonna get more into it tomorrow. I think I'll let Ryan do an explainer once again. But this one's kind of fun because it's like just this one old lady.
Yeah, it is literally just an old lady that like Margaret Thatcher was just like, perfect, you'll do.
72 horror films banned. Just straight up banned. And as Ryan pointed out in talking to him, it's just like there's some of them kind of arbitrarily decided. Almost certainly Mary Whitehouse never watched any of them. She was just going based on, I think, what she heard or vibes or something. Who knows?
Well, that's always the case with the censorious types. They generally haven't read or watched or listened to or played any of the things that they want to get rid of.
But also, much like Frederick Wortham, Whitehouse did do. I mean, I don't know that she did anything on a regular basis as cool as like being the only doctor to see black kids in the neighborhood or whatever, like he did. But she did, from what I remember, she was instrumental in getting, what was it, just like a gang of PDF files arrested or something like that. Like, remember that, Morgan?
I don't remember that, no.
I remember there's something about that. That she kind of.
Well, that's good. I'm glad she did something positive for the world.
Right.
But yeah, movies like Evil Dead, stuff that we definitely know. Faces of Death. That was one that was interesting for me to remember. That I used to, me and my buddies used to try and get those movies and watch them on weekends. And I
recognize almost all of those titles.
It's like, is this real or not? Did you ever watch Faces of Death?
I'm pretty sure I did at one point. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, I mean, those are the ones. It's like I didn't like them, but I mean, I did like the feeling of being with my friends and not knowing for sure if this is real. Should we be watching this? It's like 12, 13 years, 14 years old is a adventurous time. But yeah, I did learn in the research of that episode that no, they were not real. That they may have shown a real car accident, but then the aftermath that they would show the bodies strewn about and stuff was not real. But seemed real enough to me. Oh, I need to watch that movie. Is that pretty good? It seemed like it might be interesting, but I never watched it.
I've never watched that movie either.
That's with
it dropped off my radar. I wanted to watch it, and then because that's in my wheelhouse. I'm into that. I'm into that stuff. Not the toxic masculinity part, but the self-defense training part. I've been into for years.
Oh my god, dude! Wait, what? Fuck off, man, with that shit. Get out of here with your bullshit. Watching that crap all the time randomly. Ugh.
This is why I stopped having friends.
Yeah. Stop. Don't have roommates. It's a bad idea.
That's why all my friendships are parasocial now.
Oh, damn. No, you're all hobby projects and non-player characters in my solipsistic existence.
But while we're on this FAP channel, we can kind of take a look at some stuff here that we've done. Go back to here.
I loved Artifice, Luke. That was fun.
That was a fun episode. JFK Secret Papist 24 views. Yeah, that one didn't get
that one did not get any attention, and I put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
Entirely for the joke that I wanted to do an episode on the week JFK died. That wasn't about the JFK assassination.
Do you remember what this one was? What it turned out? What it was really?
Oh, I have to blow up my screen. Sorry, hold on.
It was why the band.
Oh yeah, the fucking that was the episode we did about
surprise EVS episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't want to advertise it to him, but it's like that had just come out. Was like, oh my god, Marvel just told this amazingly beautiful fucking story that tied up all this loose ends of canonical vagaries that have existed due to the comics code. In fact,
yeah, we did get the Mystique Destiny relationship that Claremont wanted to do until literally this year or late last year.
Yep. Well, he finally got the right to write that story in X-Men 700. Which was like the bookend to the whole thing. It was really good. I mean, also his X-Men. I mean, it's Wolverine. What was the name of it? He just did a recent miniseries, and it was really fucking good. And I was surprised because the last couple of times I'd read Claremont, I wasn't super. But he knows Wolverine. He essentially created a lot of the nuance of the guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, but what that was really we started talking about that for a minute, but then the real plan was to do a deep dive into Ethan Van Sciver, who I guess we will address that part of the pod.
So there was a time when we had a bit, because Ethan's interest in the comics code was one of the things that got Dane wanting to do this type of show about moral panics.
Well, no, that's not exactly right. What it was I had interest in the comics code, and I had interest in these two topics that kind of started kind of congealing what my understanding of conservatism as a cultural force, like throughout history to now, basically, is how I started seeing it. It was like, reactionary mindset in general, where it was like, okay, so the comic code is in a way, not only literally connected just due to the era it happened in, but like just the type of I guess repression that tends to pop up in society, where and I started kind of like putting these things together in my mind. It was very vague fucking connections that I had about it back then, but I did a video about it and kind of mentioned them in conjunction with each other. That was the video called anti-fandom and fascism are the same thing. And I started kind of like seeing these chuds as much closer in, I guess, species, like you could say, type of person to your traditional McCarthyist or even fascist or something than I ever would have thought they were. I started like seeing them as more or less in the same vein. But after I put that video out, pretty soon after that, Ethan Van Sciver tweeted about the comics code being a good thing, actually. And, he was like, oh, if Wortham gets a lot of bad press, people talk bad about him, whatever. He was on to something. He was right. Kids shouldn't have had access to this comics kind of thing. And I was just like, oh, that's fucking stupid. It's, coincidence that he's talking about that now. But then like a couple of days later, he did the exact same thing with McCarthyism. And he tweeted about that and how actually McCarthy was onto something. He was right. There were fucking commies in the government and stuff like that. And I was like, wait a second. This guy's watching my fucking video. And he's tweeting, he's vague tweeting about what I'm doing. Because he, originally he would respond to me on his streams. He would actually watch my videos. He would come to my, and I think because this was what I intended to do when I started making videos, was I didn't want to give him anything he could work with. As far as my reactions to him and stuff like that. So I think he didn't know what to do with me. I didn't react the way that he wanted me to. I didn't, come on his channel and let him fucking berate me in front of everybody. So he just stopped talking about me, but he would still talk about the things that I was talking about in my videos. And I was just like, wow, that fact that he did this, it really kind of like, in my mind, I was like, that kind of seals it for me, that these things are kind of connected and that this guy, that he's the guy I started YouTube to cover. Like, he's the one that was like, fuck this guy, I gotta make some videos about him. And he's doing that. That's what made me think that I need to approach this avenue, kind of explore this avenue of content. So yeah. And what it ended up being was in the episode 0 that I wrote, when I mentioned that, I said, well, when Ethan Van Sciver being the guy that, essentially he's essential in the creation of this podcast. Without him doing that, I don't know that I would have come to the realization that this is something I could do or should do. So I said, I'll have to thank him in every episode, in the liner notes or whatever. And, and it was kind of meant as a bit of a jab at him, right? Like, hey, this is your fault, you stupid fucker. And yeah, we started doing that. We would thank him. We would, maybe make a little snide remark about him being a shithead at the same time, but we would be like, thank you to our, what was he? Our
muse.
Our muse, yeah. Ethan Van Sciver.
Until he wished harm on
Mark Brooks's kids.
It's Mark Brooks's kid, yeah. And so, that was the end of that bit.
Because I used to see him as far more harmful, and then like over time, I didn't see any of the same shit from him that he used to do a lot more often. I didn't see him saying a lot of the same really egregious shit anymore. And so it kind of, in my mind, he softened a bit. Like I didn't see him as the same fucking villain. I mean, I knew he was still a bad guy, but I wasn't going to see him as like the number one villain in my mind or whatever. But then that video came out where it's just like a clip of him saying, I don't even know what he was talking about, but it's just a clip of him talking to somebody saying, I'm not going to wish harm on him, on my kids or something like that. He goes, something about some PDF file harming his kids. I'm no,
Right.
fuck that. And then he goes, but I would wish that on Mark Brooks's kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, yeah, you are still a fucking huge shit stain, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I immediately just said, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't fucking joke around about him anymore in the fucking podcast. So we stopped doing it.
That's when I developed my firm. I would rather not talk about a lot of these yahoos because they are just human debris. And we don't need to talk about garbage piles all the time.
But we did talk about him quite a bit in this episode.
We did.
And that was mainly me, just because I went through, and I think I went through the Alfie Norris blog, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. That's how I learned about Alfie, and then I think Alfie showed up on a stream you did recently with the Shillcast.
That was crazy.
That was wild.
Did you see that, Bob?
I did. I was at work. It got me through a pretty boring day.
And that was just like I uploaded that video about it, where that was the first and like several just crazy energy things that happened during that stream. It was like that's an all-time great stream. But yeah, him showing up, and then I saw somebody out of the corner of my eye mentioning being harassed by the Van Sciver, which is not the first time I've seen somebody say that. But then it was like the name then kind of clicked, and I was like, wait, what?
You?
It's you. You're fucking. It's your fault. I'm doing this.
Right. It's all your fault.
No, but I mean, like, if you can read that blog and not be like, I don't know, moved is the right word, but like influenced to dislike a man greatly.
Well, and if you've seen things EVS has gotten up to since then, it certainly is that should have been the canary in the coal mine.
So then there was the gatekeeping FAP, which you did some excellent work on, and I think we had some pretty great conversation about it too.
Mm-hmm.
I keep meaning to go through that and seeing what we can get out of it. Then there's the protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Yeah, you did that one.
Yeah. This was right after the fucking H Bomber guy video dropped. I was like, I can use that. Sure.
Yeah, you use that. Yep. Also play. Yeah.
Y2K.
Y2K was fun.
Then there's that one.
We did Superman smashes versus the Clan of the Fiery Cross too. That was a really fun one.
Yeah, I saw you do that one.
Texas is governed by fascists who lost a fight to a tree.
Yep.
That's true. That's true.
I missed that one. I'll have to look that up.
I think this one is one of the ones I like. I like something I hit on in this that sort of drove me going forward or influenced how I've done shows since, is that often the second victim of these fascist movements is the boots on the ground that they utilize in the government.
Yeah.
Often who agree with the fascists on some level are the second set of victims. Because like the Texas National Guard was called up to go sit on the border, but there was no logistics to support them. There was no encampment set up for them. There was no regular supply drops. And because how their National Guard is, people's jobs and educations were on the line, because they don't take care of their people in Texas government. So it was like a lot of National Guardsmen just sitting around doing nothing because his state troops were the ones that were doing a lot of the like trap setting and stuff.
Sorry, I'm looking at this one that is not immediately named, and I'm like, what was this?
I don't know.
Oh yeah. So the one that says this one's going to be rough is the title for it. This is looking at some of the books that like Libs of TikTok was going after and stuff.
Oh, this is the first Libs of TikTok one, or the one about the interview she did with
yeah, you're right, it is that. It's exactly that. So we for the first I guess 2 hours we didn't. Within 2 hours and 10 minutes in, we finally started covering the interview with Taylor and Dumb Bitch.
Yeah.
I will say, remember this.
that I made a prophecy in this that she would be forgotten by the right, and her attention from the right and them propping her up has really fallen off since then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
called
she's still
that
doing
right.
it. You know,
She's
I've
still
seen
doing it
a couple
but
times.
she doesn't have the right-wing media attention that she used to.
This ended up becoming an upload on my channel called, or maybe the title of it on my channel was the stream itself was just the stupidity of evil.
Mm-hmm.
You know, play on the banality of evil.
Yeah.
Because watching that is just like realizing how dumb this person is, and yet
she's a bag of bricks. She is,
and it really did get us to kind of talk about like, is evil just to some degree stupid? You know what I mean? Like, and it can be, I think, you know, because evil, if we're going to use that as a real thing that exists, then what is it really? It's kind of an effect, I think.
Yeah.
And it to be this brazenly, arrogantly fucking confident in what you're doing, and yet have such a fucking stupid grasp of nearly everything that you say, and that you're claiming to be an authority on, and you're having real influence on real marginalized people's lives and stuff. It just, I don't know.
I mean, she's an employee of the Department of Education in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, she doesn't live in Oklahoma.
No. Doesn't have family in Oklahoma. She's entirely has that position as a payola job for her work as an anti-trans shitwit.
Yep. Then there was there was this I've been meaning to kind of maybe either cut something from this stream or just do a video about it again. But like how expressly anti-fascist Marvel has become lately.
Yeah, and I would say even going on, like even still now, I think the X-Men line is even more like it was pretty direct before, and even now, still it is very much a through line in X-Men, adjectiveless X-Men, NYX, and exceptional X-Men.
And now this announcement today that got me hyped.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say Marvel sucks now. Many of those people are Nazis, so it's understandable they wouldn't be fans. Philip Kennedy Johnson, badass. He's a Banff. I'll say that. God give me the courage to always fight Nazis, the wisdom to never rush to Nazis' defense on the internet, and the common sense to know that anyone who finds common ground with Nazis will always be the bad guy.
Yep.
Hell hunters, because fuck those guys. This December, and then it's like, wait, was that hair looks bubbified?
That is a bubdo if I've ever seen a bubdo. Though I want to, while we're talking about other like anti-fascist Marvel books, like the Ultimates is fucking on that shit.
It is. I will say this: Ultimates has overtaken Ultimate Spider-Man as my favorite comic out right now. However, the last several pages of Ultimate Spider-Man number 10 were fucking fun, like some of the best comic book ever. I don't know if you read that yet, but
yes, I
Harry
did.
Confronting Ben and
Ben,
Jamie.
yeah.
Oh my god, that was so fucking good. I don't think I've ever read a more tense fucking conversation in a comic book than that. That was goddamn masterful.
I did not know what was about to happen. Just like, what the fuck is happening here?
I've read I'd say a few comics in my day, and that was just like had me on the edge of my fucking seat for sure. Anyway, but yeah, so the synopsis for this is pretty great. As Sergeant Nick Fury, Peggy Carter, the Soldier Supreme, and Ghost Rider 44 hunt down the demonic Captain Bruckner. They come across a squad of Nazis beset by an unstoppable force of Allied soldiers that turns out to be one Bowie knife-wielding killing machine. Logan joins the merciless Hell Hunters. It's blood-soaked, action-packed, like crazy. Sounds great.
Just like old school Nick Fury and Peggy Carter and Wolverine and a Ghost Rider.
And I guess Soldier Supreme is going to be.
I don't know what that's supposed to be.
So I think this must. Does this take place in the alternate universe because that's what Soldier Supreme is, as far as I know. Whenever Infinity Wars happened, during it was Gamora was actually the villain in that one. She got a hold of the gauntlet, and what she did, and she basically tried to redo Thanos' original thing but better.
Sure.
Instead of halving everything or halving it all, like people and everything. She created warps essentially. She warped everybody into another person. So you ended up with the Infinity Warps, and you had Soldier Supreme, which was Captain America and Doctor Strange. So back in World War II, Stephen Strange, Stephen with a V, Strange was chosen to be the so basically it was this super soldier serum, but they used magic instead.
Right. It was super soldier alchemy or something. Okay.
Yeah. And then you get stuff like Arachnid, which was Moon Knight and Spider-Man, and so just mashing two characters together for silly times.
So very amalgam comics, but they can't use the DC stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say they did their own amalgam.
Yep.
Universe.
Weapon Hex, kind of cool. That's a Scarlet Witch and Laura Wolverine.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that.
She's got like red hex claws kind of thing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's fun comics. I dropped them in the toilet.
We don't do that, boss. Maybe.
I mean, I hardly ever buy anything physical anymore, and that's part of the reason why. But yeah, I got up off the toilet after reading some of it like slid off. I set it on the sink near the toilet, and it just slid right into the toilet when I was getting up. I was like, oh
man. I've been reading stuff digital lately, but like when some of these collected editions comes out, when we start getting trades for some of the recent runs, that's gonna get bought right the fuck up. Just like
but I'm just so anybody's wondering, the flush had already taken place.
Oh, that's
but
good.
Still, there was no salvaging it.
There's no, that's. But it's not a shitty comic then.
No, I mean, no, it's not a shitty comic. It's in shitty condition, but nonetheless, yeah, this sounds fun. I'm looking forward to that.
So, the Washington Post and the LA Times could take a hint from Marvel Comics try to remain.
They could
try to remain consistently anti-fascist.
Or they could like just grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
Realize
this reaction.
That preemptive obedience is just going to get them shut the fuck down anyways. Because do you think Donald Trump cares all that much that you didn't endorse Kamala Harris?
One of the rules of anti-fascism is do not obey in advance.
Nope. Don't do it.
Or at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, I know that we've had our criticisms of, and this is turning into, look, this is what the FAPcast is now too, so it's in the spirit of it. I know we've had our criticisms of Ryan Stegman's X-Men work so far. The art.
The art could use some work.
However, that said, this fucking cover fucks.
Yes, the fuck it does.
Damn. Wow.
Just straight up.
Just put it in me. Yeah.
I'm still not like a super fan of his kind of anatomy that he does. I recognize that it is a stylized, heightened kind of thing. I'm not like saying it's bad. It's just not stylized and heightened in the way that I guess I prefer. I suppose.
I like this though.
I do like the costume. The visor's still growing on me. But.
Yeah, I feel like if he stood up straight, his legs would be too long for the rest of his body.
Yeah,
it looks like
there's some proportional issues there.
Maybe he's leaning backwards though.
Could be.
But the effect of swirling around that he sold that.
That's awesome.
It's fucking awesome looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's the full red up here. That would be honestly pretty cool.
You know what it evokes to me is Cyclops in X-Men 97, where he uses the blasts to like move himself.
Yeah,
like it's not just fire in straight line to blast guy. Like it's
right, like you can do other things with it. I'm glad people figure that out.
Yeah.
Although I did see Fabian Nicieza fucking with him here, and you can probably see it right there, carrying on the Gail Simone joke.
Fuck yeah.
Saying like if those guys aren't on fire, then you don't. That's how Cyclops' powers work.
Yes.
And then I thought they were frozen.
And then, I love those two. Those are like two of the best people to read online.
By the way, I'm not just showing you my Twitter feed randomly. I do tweet things exclusively for the purpose that I can find them and show later on because I want to talk about them. Like this one. Because I got news for you. Looks like Denise Camp has decided He's not going to slow down on writing the best comic book and being published right now. He's going to keep doing that shit.
He's going to keep doing it.
Mass imprisonment generates profits as it devours social wealth, and thus it tends to reproduce the very conditions that lead people to prison. Angela Y. Davis. Ultimate Luke Cage is coming.
Wow.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Like,
Ultimates has been so fucking good. Like,
I really need to start reading the Ultimate Universe. I started reading Ultimate Spider-Man, and then I kind of just stopped for no reason, really.
Shit happens.
I guess I just have limited space in my brain, and I was like, I'm still catching up on 10 years of Valiant comics.
That'll do it, you know.
But everything I keep seeing all this awesome stuff about the Ultimate line, and going, goddamn, I really need to read that.
I'm behind on Ultimate Black Panther by like 4 or 5 issues at this point. I just caught up on Ultimate X-Men, which I know Dane does not care for. But as a lover of horror manga, it is very much like, what if horror manga was also X-Men? So I'm digging it. But Ultimates is far and away the crown jewel of the line for me.
I don't know if you guys know much about Shazam, the character in this lore.
I do.
His villains and stuff like that.
I do.
Yeah.
So somebody had posted this this stuff with Zachary Levi yesterday and said, not even Grant Morrison could have created a story so out there as Shazam, known for fighting Nazis, a mind worm, and a mad scientist, being played by a guy who's supporting a candidate enamored with Hitler on behalf of a former candidate with a brain worm and attacking proven science.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was yesterday.
And on top of that, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Zachary Levi is Jewish. I'm just basing that on his last name. I could be wrong. But, you know, that adds an extra layer of dumb fuckery to his support of Trump.
So the Billy Batson actor apparently, too, is just like, he's grooming him probably. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But, and then there's this. This is a legitimate screenshot from
Justice League Unlimited, yep.
That's just crazy. That's just crazy, man. Like, how come we're not getting memes about how Justice League Unlimited predicted it the way that Simpsons predicted it, you know?
I know why. I know this. I have an answer.
Yeah?
Because Lex Luthor was not as dumb as Trump.
True.
Like, actually an effective businessman and a genius.
He skipped to Kingdom Come Billy Batson so fast.
Yeah, and not even, like, racist in the way that, like, we are racist here in our real world. He just fucking hates Superman. Like, it's not like he's like, oh, and we have to get rid of the Martians too. It's just fucking Superman that he's racist against. So, like, yeah. If I were Lex Luthor and someone compared me to Donald Trump, I'd be mad. I'd be like, what the fuck is your problem?
I got a proposal for the...
I have like a huge pet peeve with the way that the movies have and really all the live action adaptations have handled Lex Luthor, both in his physical presentation and his characterization.
I'll say that my favorite, at least personally, is the one from Smallville.
Well, yeah, that's
the
most popular one.
He was very, very close to what my ideal Lex Luthor would be in a movie.
I'd like to propose something for phase, whatever next phase of FAP is. We should explore things like, why the right so weird and creepy? And like Tucker Carlson here says, his vision for a Trump presidency is that Dad comes home and says to America, "You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl. You're taking a bigger spanking right now. It's going to hurt you a lot more than it hurts me."
Have you watched this entire clip?
No, I haven't watched it all. I just read it.
Nuts.
Okay. All right, let's watch it.
Watch the clip.
Allow your 2-year-old to smear the contents of his diapers on the wall of your living room, and you do nothing about it. If you allow your 14-year-old to light a joint at the breakfast table.
What?
If you allow your hormone-addled 15-year-old daughter to like slam the door of her bedroom and give you the finger, you're going to get more of it. And those kids are going to wind up in rehab.
What?
It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. No. There has to be a point at which Dad comes home.
I want to tell you guys something right now, real quick. a year ago, a little over a year ago, I moved in with my girlfriend here, and she's got a teenage daughter, and then another one that's 13 now. That's a foster situation, and then 8-9-year-old boy. But the teenage girl was a whole ass problem a little over a year ago, like a whole fucking ass problem, man. Like it was upsetting on a more than daily basis, and I honestly was like, I don't know. I would just basically try to interview. I didn't try to get involved, but I mean, I felt like if my girlfriend was getting too much shit, then I would kind of come to her aid and try and pull her away, because the kid's good at in inciting Jen to react, and I would be like, she's baiting you, she's baiting you. That's when I realized that chuds are a lot like a hormonal kind of unbalanced teenage girl. A lot like him, because I was like, oh wow, I'm like seeing the same behaviors. That's crazy. Nonetheless,
but he's saying that the rest of us are the hormonal teenage girl.
Well, he mentioned just now the teenage girl that slams her bedroom. That reminded me, because she would do that basically twice a day. Most, and if we had a good day, it was just once. Something would happen, she'd get mad, storm off to her bedroom, slam it, say fuck you, fucking hate everybody in this house, that kind of shit.
Right.
Not fun stuff, man, but like I recognized that was coming from a fucking place of pain and that needed to be dealt with, and I wasn't in a position to be anybody that could do that for her, at least then. I knew that the only thing I could do is just try to be a consistent presence and do what I can as it comes up. Now, over a year later, I'm not going to take anywhere close to all the credit for this or anything, but I have to think I played a role. She says I have. She's doing so much better now. Like this, she's genuinely a joy to be around on most of the time. She helps out around the house and stuff like that. And since stuff came up with health stuff with Jen, she stepped up with that, helped out, and it's pretty awesome. It's like, here's Tucker talking about this shit as if you have a teenager that slams the door and says fuck you or something. You're supposed to like, daddy's supposed to get aggressive with her or something. Is that what he's suggesting? I think it takes a manly presence to fucking put her in her place. No, it doesn't. It takes someone who recognizes pain, and that someone in pain needs fucking love.
It does take
making an analogy. He's describing the state of the country. I know, but but that's his point.
His analogy. I'm taking it literally.
But it gets nuttier from here.
Oh no!
Just because of the way he says
sometimes, man.
We will have to make this a show.
Trump didn't want to complain about I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, this is the fuckable. Right.
Yeah. There's so much psychosexual anxiety and weirdness coming out of this speech. It's ridiculous.
It's weird.
Just listen to the way he says it.
Yeah, that's right. Dad comes home. And he's pissed. Dad is pissed. He's not vengeful. He loves his children. Disobedient as they may be, he loves them. Because they're his children. They live in his house. But he's very disappointed in their behavior. And he's going to have to let them know. He's going to have to get to your room right now and think about what you did. And when Dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl, and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now.
Why are you so nasty,
it's
bro?
not going to hurt me more than it hurts you. No, it's not. I'm not going to lie. This is going to hurt you a lot more than it hurts me. And you earned this.
He beats his children.
Vigorous spanking because
Does he have kids? He beats his children.
And it has to be this way. It has to be this way because it's true. And you're only going to get better when you take responsibility for what you did.
Says man who's never taken responsibility for a thing he's done.
It's not said in the spirit of vengeance or bigotry. Far from it. It's said in the spirit of justice, which is the purest and best thing there is. And without it, things
you think beating a child, you think beating a woman and a girl is justice, dude. What the cinnamon toast fuck? This guy is unwell.
Bro.
And what he's doing here is describing the state of the country and what needs to happen to the country to get us back on track.
as beating a young girl.
Yeah, we are the young girl, and
Right.
Trump is the daddy.
I also like that it's like the implication is that America is Trump's house, that it is his domain.
Yeah.
In this sort of Christian nationalist worldview.
Damn, dude, that's gonna fucking blow my mind for like a day and a half. Holy shit. That's a good one, Ed.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it's true. It's. Well, I would say we would have to discuss like what we mean by mainstream Christianity. Like I would want to define.
That's going to be my question.
I mean, the way I see him
this
saying
is not happening for the most part among Episcopalians or.
Well, I mean, I guess
Lutherans.
pop Christianity, right? Like pop Christianity would be it.
I would say that like amongst the strains of Christianity that have influenced in the halls of power. Yeah.
Yeah, we would need to get, drill into what we mean by that, but I think he's onto something there. As far as, it's like kind of the same thing as like the bulk of people that are left on Twitter, kind of thing. It's like once a culture or a subculture becomes fucking, hostile and toxic enough to so many types of people that it just is going to alienate a bunch of people. And then what's going to be left is going to be, some real fucking broken people, like actual fandom. Whoa.
Yeah.
The actual fandom guy is pretty messed up, I've heard.
Yep.
I heard he really likes the second to last episode of Picard season 3, and that fucking shit.
And Wolverine too, from what I understand. What a crazy fuck. So Myron Gaines, do you guys know who that is?
No.
Is that the Fresh and Fit guy?
Oh yeah, that's him. He said on this app, "I'm no fan of Hitler." Starts off well. But you're wrong.
Oh, there we go. No, he ruined it. He ruined it. We can stop there. We can stop. He ruined it. If someone says I'm no fan of Hitler, but everything after that you can disregard.
No.
Unless
Hitler had many Jewish commanders. Let's listen. Maybe he's got a point. And generals in his military. This whole Hitler hated the Jews is nonsense. He hated degeneracy in central banking that caused Germany massive debt after World War I. It just so happened that Jews ran the government banks and porn industry in 1933. So he created the Haver Agreement and let them peacefully leave Germany with all their money and possessions intact. Learn your history before making claims. And I'll tell you, I responded to this and I said, he makes a good point. And I made a whole thing about it. He makes a good point, which I've highlighted. And then I provided context.
There you go. So the only time you're allowed to say like I hate Hitler, but is to point out the fact that Hitler did in fact kill Hitler.
Yeah, that was going to be my point too.
He's the most good thing. The most successful anti-fascist in history. I give him that.
He did. Got to give it to Hitler. He did.
A lot of people tried, but he's the only one that fucking did it.
Right.
Yeah. His own generals couldn't take him out. It took a real leader like Hitler himself to kill Hitler.
So I mean, if you're the new modern kind of Hitler and you're listening out there, just look, man. You want to be a fucking based ass alpha Chad? You know what to do.
Yeah, real Nazis follow their leader. So if you want to be a real Nazi, you know what you need to do.
I'm not going to read all this, but just trust that this is fucking all like
it's all
like
wrong.
He skimmed it with the intention of not understanding it or something, and that's the best faith interpretation of him saying all this.
Really just wanted to say nice things about Hitler. In the same way Tucker Carlson really just wanted to talk about how he beats his children. Because that man talks about beating children like someone who beats their children.
Just real quick, though, the Havar Agreement was the first example of the Nazis trying to find a way to deal with this Jew problem as they looked at it. Because, yes, they absolutely fucking virulently hated the Jews because they were, all propagandized by the protocols of the Elders of Zion, by and large. But the reason that there's a final solution is because they tried several things first that weren't quite as much as murder everybody, right? But the fact is that fascists, Nazis, are only competent at murder. That's the only thing they can do right.
And
So-
not even like
Well, you give them enough fucking time and power, they will get around to doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And on the off chance that Myron Gaines ever sees this clip, they ain't going to pick you, bro.
no, they are not. They will put some lead in the back of your head not long after they put it in mine.
Yep. You get the wall first,
shit.
just like the rest of the people who have
You guys want to see a
know
movie
it
trailer
well.
real quick? This looks pretty cool. Let's check this out. This might be good. So this is a movie. Well, I don't know. Let's just check it out. I want to give you the old Tipper Gore.
Oh, we're getting Tipper Gored. I love getting just the tip or gore.
Name?
Warren.
Where are you from?
Cana.
You don't look like you're from Cana.
I know where I'm from.
You have to weaken them all and you win the fight. You cannot fight only with your fists. You must use this organ too.
You're gonna be Schwar's champion fighter. Just don't lose focus.
Use whatever time you have to train and heal. No distractions.
What do you do for work?
I'm an apprentice.
Oh, for who?
Come. Follow me. I think it's true what people say about him. He's not like anyone I've ever worked with. Does Carpenter paying him? He takes care of what I need.
There are many good life lessons to be learned from sport. If this is your gift, can you cultivate it to positively affect those around you? To let your light shine?
Jerusalem Invitational, 400 denarii. None of this is ours if you don't keep fighting.
For that money, I would jump in the fight.
You really enjoy it?
It's not just the fight. It's training, walking out of each fight, knowing that I defeated whatever they put in front of me.
You are aware of his miracles?
He's a carpenter, son of a carpenter.
No. Look further.
So why help me? I'm nobody.
You're somebody too.
What?
So I have two thoughts.
Yeah. What do you think?
Thought the first.
Huh?
Wow, that's a lot of anachronisms. And
Oh yeah,
thought
a whole lot.
the second is that probably a more like true to the Bible movie than Passion of the Christ 2.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I could barely
Jesus
make out
Turns
a lot of the
MMA is
dialogue.
not a movie I expected to want to see, but I do want to see it.
Yeah, I want to see it too. I'm intrigued by it. Especially Jesus looked jacked as fuck in that movie.
Oh yeah, plus he's a ginger, like he was historically, of course.
No. The ginger is not Jesus. Jesus is the guy he was talking to, the carpenter.
No, was it?
Yeah,
The carpenter is Jesus. That's
So
the
wait,
whole-
so Jesus teaches the other guy MMA.
Yes.
I think it's going to be Jesus teaches him not to fight eventually.
Oh, lame.
Yeah, because the guy in profile there, like the big face in profile with the
Oh,
light,
that's Jesus, okay.
But I'm like wondering, why is this Irishman?
I
running
felt
around-
represented for a moment there, you know, with the
sorry.
thinking that was redheaded Jesus, but no, once again, shafted.
But where did they say he was from in the trailer? I missed it. They said
Canaan.
Okay, no.
No, yeah.
I am intrigued by this movie. Who made it?
I don't know. You have to do some research
That's
on your own.
amazing.
This is going to be on God Awful Movies in a couple of months or a couple of weeks.
Wow.
I mean, we
So I thought maybe it was like a Mormon thing at first or something, but wow. Okay.
Fapcasts maybe start covering stuff like that sometimes. You know, might be something to do.
Like what? What do you mean?
You know, like reviewing a movie like that,
Oh yeah.
We could do a
so that we're not just being like forcing adversity to that type of movie. Maybe we got to see that it's actually bad and not just we assume it's bad, right?
The question is it objectively bad though?
Yes.
Apparently, it was made in 2003, but is coming to theaters in November.
I mean,
I'm gonna have to look this up
Sound
too.
of Freedom was. Oh, speaking of, we're gonna have to kind of do a little pivot here, but Sound of Freedom was made in fucking like 5 years ago or something like that. Before
It took a while to come out.
Fox closed down. It was a Fox movie originally, and it got shut down, and then it kind of just sat on the shelf. And then the producers of Sound of Freedom take that fact and make it seem that like nobody wanted to produce or put the movie out. They didn't want to put it out.
So according to IMDb, the storyline is an adopted Viking orphan becomes a carpenter's apprentice to Jesus. The orphan fights as a side hustle. His experience training as a carpenter with Jesus as his mentor changes his lifestyle.
Oh.
I
don't think MMA existed back then, guys.
I don't think so.
Actually, it sort of did.
They were doing like bump kicks and shit like that. They had like cum gutters on their fucking bodies and stuff back then.
Well, I don't know about the physique part, but the fighting techniques are based on of MMA. A lot of it are based on Greco-Roman wrestling and an ancient art called pancration. And you can see like on Greek pottery and stuff. You can see them doing all the maneuvers and
sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's only so many ways the human body can move or be moved. So there's a lot of overlap with martial arts throughout the world.
Sure.
But
sure.
Still.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
I'll say that. It's very diverse film.
I mean, if it's supposed to be set in first century Palestine, yeah, that's an incredibly diverse region of the world.
Yeah, but I'm just the adopted Viking.
Yeah,
Vikings weren't a thing back then.
No, like I said, the the anachronisms.
Yeah, this is an I'm intrigued by this movie.
Same.
Yeah.
I thought you guys would like that. Just real quick, we'll run through the last of the ones we got on this channel here. We did. There's that one, and there's CPAC. That was a fun one.
CPAC was fun.
I mean, fun in the sense that, like, oh god, we can't lose this election. We can't.
Really cannot.
Krakoa and aired X-Men. So we debunked, what's his name, Hideous Chud Boy.
One of them, yeah.
Then, that was a fun one. That one was really fun, actually. That was one I did.
Oh yeah.
Where I literally found a lot of the times that the X-Men actually did kill people, and we talked about the various eras of X-Men being representative of the time that it came out, and because this was a kind of attached to the previous one where Chuds were freaking out because the X-Men were killing fascists at the end of the Fall of the House of X stuff.
How dare they?
Right.
Things that happened in X-Men comics.
And they were killing them like they
did not.
To follow up on the stream that I showed before this stream, they really fucking took Dr. Stasis, and they had some, he got fucked up.
They hyper killed him.
Hyper killed him, yeah. What was it? Like something like 10 years in his mind he was going to be killed over and over again or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. All in the last few moments of his actual life.
Right. Well, then he actually got arrested. Like, they left him like that, sort of living his deaths, put him in prison, and then Mystique was the one who finally put him in the ground.
That's right.
The Nixon FAP was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we did hunting for eggs on Trans Day of Visibility. That was fun.
Yeah.
The FAP we dare not name. What was that about? Why did I call it that?
I don't remember.
Let's find out.
Let's
Oh yeah. Q. We did a bit of Q stuff. I think we had decided that we were going to have to kind of come back to Q a bit, but like, I think we also ended up just talking about X.
We mentioned it last week.
Huh?
I was going to say we mentioned it last time. How it's like the Borg of conspiracy.
It is.
Yeah.
we've mentioned before, it is the choose your own adventure of conspiracy theories and moral panics all rolled into. It's everything. It is all of the fucking right wing shit just like smashed together, which is not as fun as you might think
No.
it sounds.
No.
There was just when we just started to doing this episodes about X-Men at that point. Sometimes,
well, we had spent the first like chunk of the year just covering a lot of current fucking Deus and like the Reagan era, and it was like we needed a palate cleanser. We needed a break because.
Well, this was we had XFAPs is what I decided to call them. We had XFAP 1 here and then XFAP 2 a couple months later. Then we did Nixon. Then we did another XFAP.
Yep.
And then we did another Nixon.
Reagan and Reagan.
Reagan, sorry. Then we did, oh yeah, you did that Warhammer stream.
Yep.
And that was pretty cool too. The cults of Star Wars anti-fandom and queerphobia are smaller than they seem.
Yeah. That was a really fun one.
Your
fucking body horror of.
Yeah. That was like when. That was after the debate.
That was after the.
That was like, oh god, I don't know, I don't feel good.
Nobody
smash these guys together. Maybe that'll be some solution. Who knows? This one was fun. Just say no. Iran Contra, as you can see, is represented here by Iran Contra in the thumbnail.
That was always fun. It's like, why is the video game called Contra, and what is Iran Contra? And then you look it up as a teenager, like, oh, that's fun. All right, that's exciting.
I mean, like that's a very specific thing that I don't care about. Like that. Like, hold on.
I can answer it.
Hold on. Tell me where you get the fact that nobody hates him for being Star Wars back there. I don't know what that really means.
I was going to say.
Like, where do you get that assumption?
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure I've heard people criticize it.
Yeah, I was there in the Star Wars fandom when that movie released, and people absolutely hated Samuel L. Jackson for being in that movie.
Because he just plays Sam Jackson?
Well, that and because he's black.
Well, and also, you may be badass, I don't know. But I am not beholden to answer anyone's questions if I don't choose to. Nobody is here. So.
Yeah. Also, if you didn't hate Sam Jackson back then and you hate black characters in Star Wars now, that means you've been radicalized. Star Wars did not change, you did.
Well, I wasn't gonna assume anything.
I wasn't either, but I'm just,
Well, that's a general you, not a you specific, right. Alexander the Badass. Just you in general. If you are a person who's that way, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This
if that does not apply to you, then it does not apply to you.
This period was pretty dark.
Yeah, that was a rough run.
So there was that, and then there was the fucking Supreme Court ruling. So, and that's what prompted this episode. And this happened, which was also kind of concerning.
We still haven't heard from Jodie Foster.
Still haven't waiting on a response from Jodie Foster. Don't know how she feels about the situation.
That remains one of the cleverest titles.
And yet, hope.
Especially because it came out like that happened like right after we wrapped up with Reagan.
Yeah.
So it was just like
it's well timed.
Well
timed, just not well aimed. Am I right? Oh God, why did I say that?
Sorry. That whatever timeline exists where that guy was on Mark is probably a very different but comparable mess to the one we're in now.
Do you guys think it would be worse? Just just vibes kind of thing. Like, do you think it'd be worse? Do you think things could have gone worse from there?
I mean, it can always go worse, right?
I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be Trump, but what could have happened instead, right?
Well, I think there are a lot of fascists in this country that are using Trump as a shield. Like Trump is a inept, barely conscious old man, who is also a fascist, but is used as cover by a lot of smarter fascists.
Yeah.
If he had died, it would be J.D. Vance running.
Right.
And it'll be J.D. Vance running the country if Trump wins.
Right. If Trump wins, J.D. Vance is president.
Really?
Yeah, because if in practice, yes, because Trump is an incompetent buffoon at this point.
Oh, I thought you meant. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying if he would have been taken out, then Vance would win the presidency.
Well, Vance would be the Republican nominee. In other words,
I don't think he would have beat
Biden,
honestly. I don't think he could have beat
No,
Biden.
he wouldn't have. But
and that would have been, that could have changed whether Biden dropped out or not too, right? Like the tone of their attacks on Biden might have not been so sustained. Who knows?
I think given that the Biden is old news took a 3-day hiatus before ramping back up to full gear, and it was like no one ever took a shot at Trump.
Yeah.
I think if Trump got shot and expired, I think that maybe Biden is still in the race.
The Trump thing would have taken more than a couple of days of news time up if he got more than a little boo boo in his ear.
I don't
know. I think the Biden is old narrative would have been made stronger if J.D. Vance had taken over for Trump.
Yeah,
true.
But
what about the J.D. Vance is a weird fucker narrative like that?
That didn't turn up until we had Walz as the vice presidential candidate, and that couldn't have happened without
before
Kamala.
There was the cum couch thing and the fucking his couch thing. I think that was going to happen no matter what. I think he was going to reveal himself as being an awkward fucking guy. Couldn't go to a donut shop without fucking acting like a goddamn weirdo.
Right. But the weird narrative would not have been boosted into the mainstream conversation without Kamala being the presidential nominee who picked Walz as her VP.
Right.
Well, Walz was doing some cool shit before he even got picked. You might have, I don't know.
I wish that Walz, if Kamala governs closer to Walz than her current rhetoric, we're in good shape. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but Walz, other than a few specific issues I am happy to pick with him, seems to have been a very good governor for our neighbors.
Tenacious D is going to get back together. They're already. I think they probably already are.
They're going to.
That wasn't a real thing. That was just like he has that Minecraft shit coming up soon or something. He just needed to get some fucking heat off of them.
Yeah,
those guys, dude. The D's been around so long. They've been buddies for so long. They ain't fucking breaking up over that shit.
I think the whole thing was kayfabe. The whole thing.
I do too.
It very well may have been. Yeah.
I mean, the response. I think that Chuds definitely kind of fucking got mad at him.
Let's get mad at everyone.
Yeah. I think they're smart enough guys to go, oh no, now it's our turn to be targeted. Let's respond to this in the way that only the D would. And
Sure. I think that in general, the Chuds are always going to be mad. And if they're mad at you, the thing you should do is just to keep doing what you're doing. Because if you just stay the course, they're going to move on, or they're going to get boring.
I think that the only reason that was probably the right thing to do in their case is because Jack Black is attached to fucking multi-million-dollar projects and shit that he didn't want to fucking blow all those up.
Sure,
that's probably wise. But nonetheless, then we did the let's see. Oh, there was Elon's daughter. That was a good one.
Keep in mind that Elon's descent into madness is in part because he just cannot treat his daughter with respect.
Right. And because she doesn't respect him because he's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah.
Look at him. He's got the shittiest dad alive and human alive shirt on. I don't know why he wears that, but
that was also the episode where we reviewed his interview with
Jordan Peterson.
Oh yeah, Jordan Peterson. That's the Joker's name in this.
Oh god, that was so uncomfortable. I remember that too.
Oh god, I remember. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to talk about the when they talk about his daughter, because that was what was all over the media. I'm gonna watch the whole interview, and it is just
hard to watch.
Saddest sack of shit.
It is. I found it unwatchable because they have so little chemistry with each other, and it's like two people two narcissists talking at each other.
They depend on a captive audience that's going to fucking just like swoon at everything they say, and then neither one of them are going to do that for each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. And they're trying to pretend like they agree on things when they very clearly don't.
Yeah.
It's just like.
And they both have negative Riz, so it was it was just.
Well, I mean, they both like what was it? There was the Peterson trying to sell Elon on
the
fucking
meat
meat diet, and that's the only time I've ever been like, I kind of empathize with you right here, Elon. That seems really fucking terrible to try and respond to this without being a dick. To be like, that's fucking gross and crazy, man. And after because we listened to it a couple times, and I realized that Jordan Peterson's actually talking about his wife being horny.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't say it, but he's like, oh, you know, there's had some effects. So, you know, you wouldn't believe.
Oh, no. Believe how horny it made my wife.
Yeah. My wife got really, really horny. She wanted to fuck all the time. You know.
I'm gonna avoid the related Muppet joke there because I don't want to insult his wife, who is not a
okay, then this was also a fun episode. I enjoyed that one. Is actually some good conversation too. The no faps.
Yep.
Valid or jerk offs who just need to jerk off. Then we did what was it, this one? It was mainly just talking about JK again and TERFs. Oh yeah, that's right. That whole situation. Jesus Christ. And then this was a replay.
Yep.
So.
All right.
Cool.
Well, it is 3 hours, and I am kerpooped.
Yeah, me too. On that note, let's try and do it again tomorrow if possible.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to get with Ryan. Nonetheless, Bob, you are of course welcome to tag along as a fourth wheel.
Depending on the time, I'll probably be available. I mean, I'm free all day, so I don't really have any plans. But shit comes up on Saturday, you know.
Yeah, people are needy.
I mean, yeah, shite comes up on Fridays.
Welcome to every video we make. We use one little thing and then we build the narrative out of it. I talk about one fucking thing and we make the whole video out of it. That's what we do.
Words are flowing out like Mary Sue. Objective truth, they don't mean much, but nothing ever does across the rift of a
Yep. Anyway, sorry.
Right, but that's a good one too.
Okay. Well, thanks guys for being here and fapping with us. You know, we've been doing it again. We've been fapping for 2 years, and boy, are we chafed.
Well, no, I'm not. I lube regularly. And...
I still have plenty of lotion.
You guys are using lotion and lube. Shit.
Yeah,
all right.
That's the secret.
I might need to take a break to like grow some layers of skin back.
Do you change hands too? You gotta like.
No, you should see my fucking arm. It's buff as shit. One arm is like.
You gotta switch. You know, there's they make books.
That fucking M. Night Shyamalan did a movie called Lady in the Water. I think that was it. Was that it?
Yeah,
I think
so. Yeah.
And one of the characters is literally a dude with a big muscular arm because he jerks off all the time with just that arm.
That sounds.
And he works out that arm too, but like he's also just jerking off that arm.
Hey, when you gotta give it the yoink, you gotta give it the splank. I don't know.
Crazy. All right, guys. So you have any comments? We can. Good night, Screwface. Have you ever eaten 2 ribeyes and T-bones? Oh, I see. Eric handed Pop Culture Crisis their asses today. Of course he did.
Of course, yeah.
He did the first time, and then they covered him as they literally said that he's one of their biggest haters. It's the first time he'd ever covered them was like 2 days before, and it was one of his least viewed videos of recent times. So like, that's pretty pathetic on their part, to be honest.
And the video, they titled their video, "We react to some of our biggest haters," and he was the only one they reacted to.
That's like they are.
Eric is like more than one person. Is he like plural or you know?
No, well, he does have 2 channels, so maybe they got confused.
That's fair.
Night, Jennifer, Greg, Screwface, Harlan, and Casual Cub. All right, guys. You guys are lovely
all
and
right.
sexy people, and you know, that's cool. You guys are great. Let me I'm gonna show a video on the way out the door here that I'm gonna find at the last minute.
You can do it. I believe in you. Go, 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 go.
All right. So, anything you want to promote, Bob? You got any videos or anything?
No, not particularly, not yet.
No recent videos, maybe.
Well, I did a reaction to Shadiversity's
Shad on Shad, yeah.
Yeah, Shadiversity's review of Rings of Power Season 2, and it is the best performing video I've ever put on my channel.
Woo, let's go!
And how so? I was looking at the comments. There were, some dumbasses in the comments. What performance are you measuring there? Like just views or what?
In terms of how many views it got in the amount of time that it got. And it's the lowest effort video I've done in quite a while too. So I'm trying to lean into that, I guess, and I'll be doing some more low effort content.
I'm going to suggest that if you're watching, you stick around and watch through this. It's only a couple minutes long, this video. I would suggest you guys watch it if you aren't aware of what it's about when you see it begin, because let's just say that it's got a surprise twist, maybe.
So before we go, I have something to promote as well coming up soon, in the next couple of months. So if you are in the Midwest and are looking for something to do after the holidays, the Midwinter Gaming Convention is happening in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the second week of January, and I will be there running Pathfinder all weekend long.
Nice.
Damn. Fuck yeah. I wish I could go.
I wish you could too.
All right. Well,
Bob, get up here.
Just real quick, I want to make sure that everybody knows that the Critical Drinker did not beat up an 11-year-old in 2015, at least according to the charges that were dropped. You guys have a lovely night. Bye.
What do you think's happening around Sound of Freedom?
The story centers around Tim Ballard.
I was molested and sexually assaulted by Tim in 4 different states.
A Homeland Security agent tasked with monitoring and arresting child traffickers across the US.
5 different countries.
Most of the time it's because they're outside Ballard's jurisdiction, hidden away in places like Mexico and Central America.
In the span of 10 months.
What do they object to?
Laundering money through a third-party company to pay for prostitutes.
Why is it caused such controversy?
I mean, honestly, you'd think it would be a no-brainer.
It sees him accused of rape, sexual assault, controlling and abusive behaviour.
Wow, that should be the sort of thing that you should really have no qualms about supporting.
Alice was just 16 in 2006 when she first met Russell Brand.
The fact that so many people in the mainstream media are against this? Wow.
For Alice, Russell Brand, a self-proclaimed sex addict, was the first man she had had sex with.
We're all familiar now with like the Jeffrey Epstein story.
Ballard was the one trafficking his female co-workers across international borders, then sexually assaulting them while they were undercover.
It really makes me question what their values are. I do not understand it at all. It really makes me question what their values are. I do not understand it at all. It really makes me question what their values are. I do not understand it at all.
The only routes for saying that there's a connection to QAnon or conspiracy theories is that once maybe the lead actor,
Caviezel, I think it is.
Caviezel, he commented on that slightly wacky wardrobe manufacturing story.
When you are scared, you produce adrenaline. If a child knows he's going to die, his body will secrete this adrenaline.
That once maybe...
Somewhere in Congress they said QAnon is racist. We don't like that, right? But so is the Ku Klux Klan.
That once maybe...
A lot of data that can prove that the Ku Klux Klan is an evil organization. And so are the Nazis. One could say that they're also racist, but they don't go after them. Only the QAnon.
Maybe commented on it. Maybe the lead actor commented on it. Is there something to hide around all this network stuff?
Alice was just 16 in 2006 when she first met Russell.
Ben Sciver told me, I'm glad that he did.
How bad can it get? The list is endless. This album was released just recently by a band called The Mentors. It was released on the album and the label Enigma Records, which also launched Motley Crue's career. The album includes songs like 4F Club, Finder, Feeler, Fucker, and Forgetter, Free Fix for a Fuck, Clap Queen, My Erection is Over, and the song Golden Shower, which says these words, listen you little slut, do it.